bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Well, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Jimi Hendrix, pretty cool. Today is Wednesday, March 8th, 67 days into the new year, just 298 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world. All across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your oh so humble host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Yeah, man. It's on fire tonight. Look at this. Oh, man. I love the dancers that pop up in Twitter at the beginning of the show. Makes my day, sets the mood. All right, tonight, Marla Martenson is here. That's right. Man, I feel like, a real celebrity, right? Marla Martenson here on Fade to Black. Now, we're going to talk about crystals. We're going to talk about healing. We're going to talk a little paranormal. We're going to talk a little bit of Reiki. We're going to talk out of body, astral projection. Everything is connected in this world of ours. And she's just the person to do it. She is here tonight. Tomorrow night is Thursday. It's Fader night, and it's a special Fader night. I want to remind everybody that tomorrow night is the 20th anniversary of the Phoenix Lights special with Dr. Lynn Katai. And the actual anniversary is on Monday, obviously. She's doing her special events out in Phoenix. So the best and bestest way to do this is to have her stop by and hang out with all of us on a Fader night. And that's going to happen right here tomorrow night. And opening the show for the good Dr. Lynn will be John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom. And, of course, the call-in number is 323-825-5045. We will be taking phone calls tonight with Marla, so get ready for that. Follow us on Twitter, at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do, at JChurchRadio. Facebook, YouTube, everything's Fade to Black. You know what to do. Follow, like, and subscribe. I want to say something really quick before we move on. Our rankings, and when I say our, I'm speaking to all of you, this audience. Our rankings on Alexa have, over the last 6 months, have gone through the roof and or broken through the floor, whichever direction, because the number is getting lower, right? What you want on web rankings, you want a small number, not a big number. And every day, we look and these jumps and this thing that has happened over the last 6 months, things have blown up. And yes, it's happened on Twitter too. The same numbers are there. Subscriptions, podcast, subs to the YouTube channel, likes on our Facebook page, likes on our Spreaker page. Everything is just like a rocket, man. It's like we're shot out of a cannon. And it's extraordinary. And the reason for that is you. Every single one of you, you are those clicks. You are those views. You are those likes, the subscriber. It's all you. And I just want to say this right now. Thank you. I mean, Rita and I and the entire team here, we look at these numbers every day and we're like, what's going on? Right? What? We need to slow this down a bit. I mean, it's too much. It is awesome. And there you go. So I just want to thank all of you, okay? I mean, go to Alexa right now. Go to Alexa. Well, you won't. But just to see those numbers, just go, jimmychurchradio.com. Click and look. It's like, holy crap, look at the graph. just nuts. Anyway, there you go. I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you. Okay? Any questions or comments during the show, use hashtag F2BQ. That's Fade to Black Questions. The sandbox is hashtag F2B. We do not bite. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. When you become a member here in our membership area, you will get a secret email to me. That's right. A private email. So go and subscribe right now. That's all you got to do. Go to the membership area, click, go. It's fun. It's safe. It's secure. Everything is internal here. We're not using any other companies. Your data is not shared with anybody. It's just us. Okay? And we're family. Go and become a member today. And if you're listening right now and you hear me talking about the bunker cam, which is live right now in front of me, got a little blue dot, widescreen, panoramic, high def, right? So you get to see if I shaved, which I didn't shave today, so you can see that. But if you want that bunker cam, just go and become a member. Okay? All right. And if the membership is just a little too much, we do have an alternative. You can subscribe to our podcast. And our podcast is over 600 archive shows right now. Custom apps, Apple, Android, all platforms, just $2 a month. How cool is that? 600 archive shows, updated every single day. $2 a month. There you go. All right. And while you're over at jimmychurchradio.com and you're surfing around there, do go and visit all of our sponsors. Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, River Moon Coffee, Studio Dome Speakers. Click on their banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. That's all you got to do. Go and visit them. Use the promo codes for discounts and free shipping. Everything is right there in that banner, all the promo codes that you need. And so let's get this show rolling. Contact in the Desert is coming up May 19th through the 22nd in Joshua Tree, California. Tickets and info over at jimmychurchradio.com. We are giving away passes. All right. We're giving away passes like we do every single year. 1 entry per person. Just go to our website. When you click on the contest banner, enter. And if you win, the pass is not transferable. So if you win, welcome. Come on out. Hang out with us. More on that in just a second. But if you can't attend, let us know. That's all. Win. Enjoy winning, right? I'll announce it on the radio. And then if you can't go, let us know. We'll draw another name for somebody that can go. All right. Thank you. Good luck to all of you Fadernauts. Now, big announcement. This year's Fadernauts at Contact in the Desert have a Fader compound. Yeah. A Fader compound. 3 houses on the same property. Big parking lot. The houses surround the parking lot. And if you were there last year, you know what I'm talking about. And so this year, done. The Fader compound. Fully booked, fully loaded, fully done. It's over. So if you wanted to become a part of the compound, it's locked down. You can come to the parties, right? Should I just openly invite, if you're going to show up at the Fader compound looking for us, you better have a Fade to Black shirt on or a Fade to Black hat. That's the only way that that's going to happen. We are so looking forward to the food, the drink, and the amazing conversations that are going to go down at that compound. That's right. Okay. All right. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday today to the drummer, sort of the Monkees. Mickey Dolenz is 72. Our dead guy, I say sort of, Didn't they have originally, that was all studio musicians, right? They were just actors. And then eventually they started to play, right? And then Mickey actually played drums at some point, right? I don't know. I don't want to slag on him because I love the Monkees. Our dead guy's birthday today, Alan Hale Jr. 1921, 1990, died at the age of 68. He was the skipper on Gilligan's Island. He appeared in over 200 films and television roles. His IMDb page is like that long. An amazing career. But for us, for me, he will always be the skipper. He died on January 2nd, 1990, of cancer at St. Vincent Medical Center right here in Los Angeles, California. And certainly some of the most notable and memorable moments on television were because of the skipper. Happy birthday, Alan Hale Jr. On this day in history, OTD. 2015. No, actually it was 1994. More than 60 people reported a Michigan UFO sighting. This was a massive sighting. The reported UFO sightings grabbed national headlines. Late night talk show, radio took over that, and even had its own History Channel special back in 2008. While it's had its fair share of attention over the last 23 years, the incident remains one of Michigan's most head-scratching and unsolved mysteries. You should hear the 911 calls, and they're all out there. You can go and listen to them. And they described it as, and this is what's trippy. I mean, Christmas lights in the air, this huge, massive thing. And the local police department calls the National Weather Service and to report this to see if there was anything going on. They're looking at it on the radar. It broke apart, went into three things, went from 6,000 feet, 9,000 feet up to 12,000 feet, and was moving. And you should hear those phone calls. It is a crazy, crazy case, and it is still unsolved. Fate or fact? This is my kind of fate or fact. Yes, the original Mike Nesmith was the only actual musician. The others learned later. What about Davy Jones? Right? Does he count? He really sang. Our lead singers, musicians. Oh, did I just say that? All right, fate or fact? I'm just going to say it. Spraying your clothes with vodka, can make them smell better. That's right, since vodka kills all of those odor-causing bacteria on the spot. That is a fate or fact. Tonight, Marla Martenson is here. We're going to talk crystals, healing, Reiki, UFOs, the paranormal, out of body. We're going to do everything tonight with Marla. She'll be here in a few short minutes. Tomorrow night, again, I want to remind everybody, it's our 20th anniversary of the Phoenix Light Special with Dr. Lynn Katai, and John Rappaport's going to be here with his No More Fake Newsroom live. Okay? All right. Oh, Rick, that's pretty good. Except for, Rick, do this again. Okay? It's cool. I dig it. But, in fact, I'm not going to retweet it. I'm going to cancel it. Do it again. Just take the Smirnoff off. Put in a real bottle of vodka, like Oligarch, right? Put in a real... Even Grey Goose would be okay. No Smirnoff in our house. Here we go. I'm just going to jump into this feed first. We're a day after the WikiLeaks release and of these CIA docs. We're learning more today, but it's alleged to be the entire hacking capacity of the CIA. And the focus today began shifting to just who gave the surveillance information back to WikiLeaks and the website. It's a pretty interesting investigation. The CIA Center for Cyber Intelligence, CCI, has long maintained an internal database of information accessible to anyone with the proper credentials or security clearance. And that seemed to be dumped in total to WikiLeaks. More on that in just a bit. There's some breaking news on this. In the news release on the disclosure, WikiLeaks said that CCI had more than 5,000 registered users. 5,000. That seems like a really, really big number to me for this type of classified information, right? But that's apparently the case. The FBI opened a federal criminal investigation in the WikiLeaks disclosure earlier today. As the probe gets underway, there's a typical incident response playbook that they are going to use to narrow down that massive pool of suspects that I just mentioned, 5,000. Well, that is if the number is indeed 5,000. However, analysts will target the most sensitive documents that were revealed for their forensic work, and as only those with, and if you think about it in these terms, only those with that high of a security clearance for the most sensitive documents, because it's going to go compartmentalized, it's going to be at different levels, that's who they're going to focus on, because that's going to take that 5,000 and narrow the group down. WikiLeaks, this is me talking here. This is the way that I'm looking at it, but I know that I'm pretty close. WikiLeaks also said today that the data dump, which occurred yesterday, accounted for less than 1% of Vault 7. That's what they're calling this collection of documents, Vault 7. 1%. And that is scary. It reminds me of a conversation that I had back in New York with someone that I can't name, that the Snowden stuff, and this was a conversation with somebody that was involved with Snowden. That's all I can say. That the Snowden stuff right now is only at about 10 to 20% released of everything. And in this conversation that I had with this particular person, he had said, I guess I can say it's a he, it's 50-50. He had said that the amount of information that was on those USB drives was so large, and millions and millions and millions and millions of pages of documents, that it's taking them forever to index it and sort through it, because they're reading these. You have to, right? You have to go through and read. And it's also the format of the documents themselves, a large chunk of them. They can't be automatically read. So you have to go through and read the pages and index them. So we've only seen 10 to 20%. And the reason why this was brought up with this particular person was because I said, how much could Snowden possibly have? How much could he possibly have? He's constantly leaking new stuff. How much? It seems like it's endless, and I'm almost not buying it. It's like he's getting new. Where's he getting his stuff? And that's when I was told, look, man, only 10% has been done. Maybe 20% at this point has been indexed. And that was back in, well, it was last year in New York. However, year zero, comprising 8,761 documents and files, was released with that statement was part of a larger series. WikiLeaks did confirm that. Okay, so they called yesterday's dump year zero, but the entire package is Vault 7. And WikiLeaks was very clear about that today, to announce today that it's only 1%, and we're looking at 8,700 documents. This must be a real holy crap moment for the corporation. A serious one. Because if you think about it, at this point, they don't know what has been breached or by how much. By WikiLeaks stating this today, only 1% has been released. Now the CIA is back on their heels, and they're wondering how much is gone and what and when. Think about this for a second. They are forced into the position of waiting to see what WikiLeaks does next. They must be going out of their minds. WikiLeaks claims that the leak originated from within the CIA before being lost. That's what WikiLeaks said, that it was lost. And it was circulated amongst former U.S. government hackers and contractors. From there, the classified information was then passed to WikiLeaks. This is what's interesting. End-to-end encryption. End-to-end encryption used by applications such as WhatsApp was revealed to be futile against the CIA's hacking techniques. That even those programs like WhatsApp were useless. Now, the program that the CIA was using was called 0 Days, which were capable of accessing messages before the encryption was applied. Now that's out. And now that information is out to hackers, think about that for a second. This is actually going to turn into a really big deal. The question is, that is on everybody's mind. Is this going to be bigger than Snowden? Could be. Who is this person? Is this person going to be the next Snowden? Is this person currently employed by the CIA right now? Don't know. Earlier today, United States intelligence officials said that the CIA had been aware of the impending leaks for the last year. Think about that. They knew it was coming, and that the internal investigation by the agency right now into the source of the leak is focused primarily on contractors. So they're starting to zero in. What was Snowden? Contractor. It's about to really, really get out of control in Washington, D.C. WikiLeaks also says that the classified information contained in the leaked documents was lost by the CIA and subsequently circulated among former U.S. government contractors in an unauthorized manner. I'm quoting directly from them. This is what's important for all of us to realize here. The CIA doesn't know what's going on. They know that 1% of the documents were distributed yesterday. The investigation is going to go down as follows. The last document that was uploaded to their server, right? That's the key point. The last document, not the last document. And they're going to be able to start to zero in on this group of people really quick on who had access to that. What's more important here is by them saying contractors, I think that's trying to throw the scent off of what's really going on. Me personally, I think that we're going to find that this person is still employed by the CIA. There's a lot of reasons for that. If this person was not employed by the CIA, I think we would know who they are. I think that they would announce it. They would say it. I think that they would lawyer up whistleblower status, leave the country, go somewhere else. I think that would be the case. By the CIA saying that it was contractors and that these were lost and WikiLeaks having this kind of information up ahead, something says to me that they are very close to finding out who this is, and we're going to find out who the next Snowden is, right? The Walker, right? Who leaked this? I think it's going to come from inside the CIA. Now, the other, that's my prediction. I could be way off here, but that's where I'm going with this. The other part of it is this. Was the 8,761-page data dump from yesterday the most damaging stuff? Right? Or was it done in order? I don't know. Is it done in groups? Right? Packages. File folders. Is it done like that? Is there some chronological fit to this? Did somebody already go through, and this is what is very important here, did somebody already go through all of this and decide what to release yesterday? Or are they still going through those files, just like my source had told me in New York when it came to Snowden, that they still don't know what they have? They are still going through everything, and it's just being released as they index it. Could that be what's going down with WikiLeaks? Remember, Snowden leaked to WikiLeaks, right? So there's a pattern here. is the most damaging stuff still yet to come. As crazy as it sounds, that as impactful as it is, that the CIA can turn on and off your Android phone at will, flip a switch. The security breaches that they've made into Apple, that televisions and smart devices can be turned on and off, your webcam, this webcam. There was one other point that I want to get to, if I can do it before the break, that conversations can be in real time, indexed, turn into text, and then turn around and stored in real time on any phone, anytime, anywhere. U.S. citizens or abroad. Remember, this is where I wanted to go. CIA is outside of the United States. FBI is here, right? But apparently that is not the case. Have the walls around this country where the CIA had their jurisdiction, because of the internet and the way that data is handled today, that none of that matters anymore. That is what is most important, and that is what is being revealed here. For me, if I'm at the CIA right now, not only who the leaker was, but the fact that this kind of information is out. I had said yesterday, what did we expect? Why are we all up in arms? This kind of stuff should have been going on. Just like the NSA with Snowden. I had said then, when everything came out, we had to naturally assume this is what's going on. We've kept our heads in the sand about it. We haven't discussed it. We haven't, it's one of those things. It's Pandora's box. You don't want to open it up. But why be surprised? That's where I'm at with all of this. We're going to find out. It's my prediction, and I've made it here. Somebody is still working for the CIA. I don't know if we're going to see another massive leak. And it's interesting how they're calling it that, too, as well. More on tomorrow's show when I discuss that word leak. Tonight, Marla Martenson. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be right back with Marla right after this short break. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Tepe.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletzky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Tonight, Marla Martenson is here. Tomorrow night, I want to remind everybody, very special 20th anniversary of the Phoenix Lights special Fader Night with Dr. Lynn Katai. John Rappaport's going to be here to open up the show with his No More Fake Newsroom Live, and it's going to be a special broadcast, and we'll be taking your phone calls. Just like tonight. Marla Martenson, professional matchmaker. She shoots her arrow of love on a daily basis, helping out countless professional singles connect with their soulmates. She is also a Reiki Master, a crystal healer, and the host of the Cosmic Conversations on YouTube. Go check out the videos, everybody. And her website is marlamartenson.com, and the links are right there. She is also the author of 3 memoirs: Diary of a Beverly Hills Matchmaker, Hearts on the Line, and The Buddha Made Me Do It, which I have right here in the studio. Hold that up for the cam right there. The Buddha Made Me Do It. We'll talk about that tonight. She's been interviewed on over 100 radio and TV shows, including The Today Show, WGN Chicago Morning News, which I grew up with, San Diego Living, CTV Calgary, Beyond Belief, and Coast to Coast AM with George Noory. And tonight she's a first-time guest on Fade to Black. She resides right here in Los Angeles with her husband, composer Adolfo Jon Alexi. And when she's not playing Cupid or writing, she could be found scouring the city for just one more crystal to add to her collection. And I would like to welcome, for the first time to Fade to Black, Marla Martenson. Marla, welcome.
Hi, Jimmy. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
It's so good to hear your voice. But this is where we start with a first-time guest. You get the first-time guest disclaimer. Now, the next time you're on the show, you don't get it, but you get it tonight. And the disclaimer is this. This is just you and I sitting on my couch talking as friends. Where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. Are you ready to go?
Oh, boy.
See, you were all nervous. But you have to accept the disclaimer.
All right, I accept it. I sign on the dotted line.
There you go. With you, we're going to talk on so many different subjects tonight. But I mentioned to you before the show. By the way, Marla is going to be, is it May 17th with the George Noory here in Los Angeles?
Oh, yeah, May. I don't know if it's the 17th. We're going to be having lunch at the Great Greek, and you can have lunch with me and George in Los Angeles in May. It's on my website.
Have you been to the Great Greek?
It's right. It's not far from my house, but you know what? I don't think I've ever been there.
It is one of the most. It's our family, right? Rita and I, and she says hi, by the way. It's one of our favorite places to go. A couple of years ago, our father's birthday, Rita's dad's birthday, right there at the Great Greek, man, and
awesome.
It's an amazing, amazing restaurant. I think I've announced it over on Coast. I just thought I'd get it on here. The Great Greek is
Jimmy?
an awesome place. Yes. Did you lose me? Oh, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep, I've
Okay.
got you.
All right. I took out my headset because something went wrong, so I'm just I'm here.
Oh, okay, you're gonna wing it. You're gonna wing it.
Yeah.
Good. It's live radio, Marla. I like your professionalism.
I will wing it, and I'm excited to go. Yeah, I think it's the 17th at the Great Greek, so check it out. And we'd love to see anybody who's in the Los Angeles area. So I love Greek food, so I'm excited.
Yeah, George always books that stuff when I'm working. He does that really conveniently. But I wanted to start here with the matchmaking side of things. I'm curious about that. And my first question is because, again, we're going to talk about so many different things tonight, but the matchmaking stuff, I have to say, you're the first guest that I've had on the show that does this professionally. How did you get into it, and how do you incorporate yourself, and when I say yourself, I mean your inner self, what you do, into the matchmaking, or do you not? Or do the two of them kind of blend together?
Yeah, it does. It was just a fluke, and I was an actress / waitress for 20 years. Grew up in Seattle, near Seattle, Washington. Moved down to Los Angeles at the age of 19, so the early 80s, to do acting. And I did that, but I ended up waiting on tables more than I was acting, even though I did some TV commercials and modeling and things like that. And when I was 39, I had been living in Chicago for most of the 90s, so I went back and forth from Chicago to LA. Well, my father had terminal cancer, and I came back from Chicago to California to be with him. By the time I moved back, he was passed away 3 days later, and I found myself, devastated, all alone with my teacup Yorkie in a little studio apartment in Hollywood. And sitting on my stoop, my money was dwindling, and I said, Marla, you better get your butt up and go apply at a restaurant. You need some work. And I thought, I cannot put on a waitress apron one more time. I was just done it. I thought 20 years. There has to be more for me out there. It just wasn't my dream. And I thought, I don't have any other skills. I've been acting. I've been taking, what did I take? Dance lessons, acting lessons, French lessons, all the fun stuff. And so I had been dating my now husband for a short time. And he had a friend who was taking over the management position at a video dating service called Great Expectations. And she said, hey, Marla, I will give you a part-time gig if you want. You can still go on your acting auditions. And so I said, hey, let's try it. And I was the videographer. So I felt like a producer making these videos. I'd ask them questions. What are you looking for in a man? What are you looking for in a woman? And I really enjoyed it and helping these people. And then I still was acting a little bit, but I really got into then from there went on to a Beverly Hills matchmaking firm, and my creativity couldn't be quenched or squelched. So I started writing books, and I wrote a couple of dating advice books. And then went on to do the memoirs because people kept asking me what it's like. You must have so much crazy stories, and what's it like being a matchmaker? And so I started writing. But it was really a fluke, and I got really lucky being offered that job, that part-time job that led to something else. And here I am 15 years later. Now I have my own business with a partner, and it's been since 2010 that I'm on my own matchmaking.
It's funny that you mentioned Great Expectations. I don't know if it was a national thing, but in Los Angeles, it was a really big deal for a long time.
Yeah, and it was people would go in after. It was funny because some people considered it like their second job. Like they come in, I have to do my work now after work, because they had to look through books, and then if they liked somebody, they'd go get the video and look at the video and then pick them. And I would. What broke my heart, and I just helped, were these widows and widowers that came in 70 and 80 years old who had lost their partner, their love of their life of 50 years, and then wanted to meet somebody. And so I would help them and pick out people for them and mail them ideas. And I'd just be doing the video just in tears, so it became a very rewarding career.
Now, what about today with it? Do your clients know about not only the Reiki side of things, but, the spirit board or the other crystals? I mean, do you ever throw a spell on them, like a love spell?
I like to, so no. When I work with the men are my paying clients, so they're the client, and they are the more affluent, businessman, doctors, lawyers, real estate developers looking for a beautiful woman inside and out. So they can be kind of demanding. And when I started in on the energy work and everything, I thought, you know what, I should use this. And so a couple of the guys have come in who live in the area, and they've come in and had a Reiki session and crystal healing. And one guy back in New Jersey, I did distance healing on him. I don't talk about it too much because a lot of guys, they think maybe it's a little woo-woo or they haven't heard of it. Right. My husband, of course, who's really has had a lot of resistance to this journey that I've had, he says, God, Marla, you better be careful. You're going to lose all credibility if they see some of the stuff you're into. And I thought about it at first, but I don't really mix it like the videos I do with Karen Dahlman on the Ouija board and stuff. I don't tell anybody, and I don't put even my name in the tags, on that. So it hasn't, and I said, I have to be me. First, the show, I had called it Conversations with Cupid. And I was doing a lot of stuff on dating. And I thought, you know what? I've been doing this 15 years. My hobby, what I love is I'm a para-nerd. I love the paranormal stuff, the crystals, the energy work, the contacting the other side, angels. So I said, I have to be me. And so it's worked out good. I haven't had any problems yet.
I have to ask you, have you had a client go, okay, well, here's my list of stuff, tall, whatever his list, but I'm also into UFOs. Have you had anybody approach you with anything like that?
Not the men, but the women are all asking, oh, when's his birthday? Because they want to look up his sign, or the women are into it. And so the guys that I get, they're more real business oriented. I've had guys who are like billionaires, and they're like making money, and they're more that, focused, and they don't have that much of the spiritual side opened up. And then it's funny because I had a guy who owned a vineyard. He had a few businesses, but one of them was a vineyard. And, I want to date a woman. She's got to be like a size 0 to 2, and she's got to eat meat and drink wine because I go to a lot of functions. And I'm like, women over 40, if they're that thin, they're probably not eating a lot of meat and drinking wine. They're probably going to be on a juice cleanse, like 1 week out of the month.
Right.
And so it's funny because in LA we've got so many vegans and people into spirituality, and then the guys are like, what's going on?
That's really interesting. So the male side of things, the guy side, isn't apparently, and you're suggesting this. I mean, we've always kind of known this, right? But they are not revealing their sensitive side, and they're not really concerned about that. It's more about stats.
Yeah,
right?
The ones I get now. I did get one guy. This was like a dream come true. He was a vegan, did yoga, meditation. He was like out saving the dolphins. He was really, plugged in. He wanted a girl that was like just a yoga girl who, didn't drink and was very environmentally aware and spiritual. And that was really, I'm like, oh, I know a ton of girls like that. So that was really fun. But I've had to kind of open these guys up and explain what's, Reiki, what's your sign mean, or what's, try dating a vegan or try a yoga class. So it's been really interesting.
And what is the response? Are you serious? Women are really concerned about this kind of stuff? Is that the response that you're getting? I find that totally realistic. Totally realistic.
Yeah, it's kind of like they want, okay, so our country tends to be, 80% or 70% overweight. We're not really the healthiest country. But the guys are so visual. They want a woman who looks, super slim and, if they're going to pay a lot of money to a matchmaker, they want what they want, and she better look really good. So women like that, and especially as we get older, they're going to be the ones who are really, maybe, like I said, doing a juice fast or doing a lot of yoga, or they're really into them keeping themselves up and delving into other alternative things. And that's just kind of the way it is. So, it's an interesting path, and I've made a lot of love connections, but I'm trying to get these guys a little more open and maybe needing coaching. And because they are so visual, Jimmy, I mean, you're a guy, if a guy doesn't like what he sees, it doesn't matter what kind of soul or heart the woman has. He wants to like what he sees first, and then he'll find out the rest, right?
Sad but true. Right. Sad but true. I mean, I'm guilty as charged. Look at my wife. She's beautiful, right?
Yes.
I just happen to get lucky that she's smarter than I am. And now, and then for you, how did this journey? Was there an epiphany in the road? Did something happen where you made a left-hand turn, or was your family always open to new ideas and the possibilities of something else strange going on out there in the world?
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. So as a kid, I always did like Halloween was my favorite. I grew up in Seattle, so I always liked the fall and going out into the woods and picking different, herbs and stuff. And I always liked, witches were my favorite, and I had a witch club. And so I always kind of liked that fun stuff, not the horror films, but I always liked kind of the paranormal stuff. And then always was studying spirituality and metaphysics since, my late 20s. And then it was one day, so my husband and I bought a house in 2011 in the Valley. We always lived in Hollywood, so things were kind of packed up. And there was this Buddha statuette that a neighbor had given me. And I was trying to purge and clean some stuff out. And I don't know why I got rid of that little Buddha. And wouldn't you know, my husband never mentioned that thing until I got rid of it. And he says, hey, Marla, whatever happened to that Buddha that, our neighbor gave us? And I said, well, wait a minute. He didn't give it to us. He gave it to me. And, but anyway, he goes, you better not have gotten rid of that. You're always getting rid of stuff without asking me. I said, no. It must be in the garage, packed up from the move. Ooh. And I said, I'll be back. Let me go check. And so I rush out, and go jump in my Toyota and drive around, go into all the metaphysical stores that I knew because I'd seen those Buddhas for sale. And I thought, I'll just replace it. He'll never know.
Right.
And I couldn't find it. And then so a few days, every day, he's like, did you find that Buddha? Did you find that Buddha? Oh, no. I said, I'm still looking in the garage. And then one day I said, that's it. I'm going to one last place. And if they don't have it, I'll fess up and face the music man, And so I looked up in Siri, I said, Siri, metaphysical shops, in Tarzana. So there was one last place called the Imagine Center on Ventura Boulevard. I walk in and I walk up to the desk and I say, hey, do you have any of those Buddhas? And they didn't have any Buddhas, but she did say, well, we do offer classes though. Here's a flyer. Feel free to come back. And so I called my friend Julie, who lived a few blocks away. She's a celebrity ghostwriter, and we both love spiritual stuff and all of that. So I said, hey, Julie, the Imagine Center has these classes, only $15 each. What do you say? I said, I couldn't find any Buddhas, but we can take a class. So she says, sure. So we start taking these classes there on connecting with your spirit guides, manifesting, and crystal healing was one of them. And it was so fabulous. And the owner there, Goddess Tahita, was amazing, a powerful healer herself. And by taking those classes, I found out that I could be certified in crystal healing. I really loved the crystals. And then from there, I went and she says, well, you can add some other modalities to that if you want, if you do Reiki or anything. So I went and found a Reiki teacher and became a Reiki practitioner. And so Julie and I just started delving into things like this was our fun time, when we weren't working. Okay, what can we go do next? So we went and learned candle magic and how to use pendulums. And one night she brought over a talking board and we went on the talking board and We went to psychic fairs. And so this really started the journey. And I really didn't dip a toe in. I dipped my whole body in and just went crazy with it. And my husband was like, what in the hell is happening here?
Have you been to the Psychic Eye?
Yes, I love the Psychic Eye. And then there's a place called Omen Garden down the street.
Right. Omen Garden is pretty cool, too. Now,
yeah.
Here in the Valley, we're in Burbank, not very far from you. And we used to live in Sherman Oaks, right down the street from the Psychic Eye. But for the audience here, I just want everybody to know what we're talking about. Ventura Boulevard is like 20, 25 miles. I have no idea, but it's a long strip of it's the main drag here in the Valley, but it's nothing but restaurants and shops. And part of that, along that strip, are a collection of really, really cool psychic bookshops. Imaginary's one, Psychic Eye's another. Omen is awesome. Omen isn't on Ventura. What's that?
Yeah, it is Omen Garden, A-U-M, Omen Garden. It's on Ventura.
Right.
Yeah, right down the street from Psychic Eye.
Psychic Eye. I was thinking it was on the side street there, but you're right. It is on Ventura Boulevard. There's another one up on, I want to say it's Lancashire.
The Green Man store.
Yes. That place is huge.
We took the pendulum class at the Green Man store, and we got some candles dressed by the male warlock there, Hovik. And
yes,
that's
Hovik.
Hovik.
Oh, man. So everybody, you need to, if you ever hang out here in L.A., you want to go to Hollywood, take a vacation, you should do it and visit these bookstores that we're talking about. They are absolutely extraordinary. Psychic Eye is
listed
humongous.
In my book, The Buddha Made Me Do It. So if you want to follow my journey, you can go to all these hot spots that I did.
I remember, I'll tell you a funny story. Psychic Eye, probably 1992, 93, right in there. And I would always go in there and just look around and check things out, right? And it's a really big store, and plus they're doing all kinds of readings in the back. There's that whole gypsy vibe thing going on there, and I just loved it. And I was drawn to this case that had these Celtic rune medallions. And I kept going back and going back and going back because the store is huge, right? But I kept getting drawn to this case with these pendants. And I bought one. And the lady said to me, well, this does this, and this. And I swear I wore that thing. I still have it. But I wore that thing for years, and I felt like it changed, like it brought me good luck. Right? Yeah. It was like this weird, I wouldn't take that thing off. And I got that at the Psychic Eye. It was part of my little journey, too, that started there at the Psychic Eye. And strangely enough, down the street from coast to coast, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty bizarre.
Are you still wearing it?
I have it. No, it's packed away. I have a jewelry box. We also just bought a house that is full of unpacked boxes. Just to let you know, we still have, and in there is a jewelry box with that pendant in there. Yes, I still have it. I just haven't worn it in a long time. And the reason why the chain that I had bought for it broke, and it was just one of those things. I didn't want to buy another chain, so that's why I went in the box. And then, of course, my luck changed, right? So there you go. A very strange symbol. I should go and pull that up and photograph it and get that on the web. I've never seen it. It's a triangle, Celtic symbol. It's about as big as maybe about a quarter. That's the size of the medallion, and it's got this Celtic rune symbol in the middle, in the shape of like a pyramid, like a triangle. It's very interesting. I should show it to you, let you know what you think.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. That's awesome.
So now we're going to head to a break here in a few minutes. As you started to go down this path, were you discovering things about yourself that were always there? I mean, were you aware of of the other side growing up, or did this all start to happen just recently?
Well, it's interesting because when I think back, like now that I'm having more astral travel experiences and stuff, I did as a kid. I had, reminded me of some things that happened. The earliest thing I remember happening, and maybe you're into this stuff, so maybe you'll know what this was, but I had to be, I couldn't have been more than 3 years old. I'm one of those people who remember back to when I was 2 and 3. I mean, I could tell you so many stories of things I did at 3. So I was laying on top of my bed. It must have been a warm night. It was pitch black in my bedroom, laying on my bed and on the top. And I look out into my bedroom. I open my eyes, and there was this figure, maybe a shadow figure or something, but it was because it was all black, but it was a figure. It was like a jester or something, like in a jumpsuit, and it was had its hands on its hips, and it was doing like deep knee bends type of things with its knees going out, so like up and down, and I froze. I was lying there like just frozen, scared, and then finally I just closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, it was gone. And then as a kid, 8, 9, 10, 11, I used to have these astral travel, pop out of the body experiences.
What were those like?
Well, the scariest one was one night I was laying in bed and I felt something pulling me out of my body, and I was fighting for I was fighting for my soul or something. I was pulling as hard as I could to get it back, and I got it back. And then other times, like in the summer, I'd just lay down for maybe a nap on my back, and when it was kind of warm, I would feel myself kind of floating out. And so that's been happening to me more now that I've been working on my spiritual practices. And some nights I'll just like wake up and I'm just like floating, hovering above my body. I could feel it, like my feet are like moving, floating up and down. One night this was amazing. It happened a couple of years ago. All of a sudden I was standing obviously on the astral plane. I didn't realize it at the time. Thought it was real. And it was at night, and my husband was in bed next to me sleeping, and I stood up and looked in the corner of the bedroom, and I could see something coming from the corner, like a light and something coming out of it. And I just realized it was my dad. And I was like, "It's Dad, it's Dad, it's Dad. Oh my God, it's Dad." And I told myself, just keep looking, just keep looking. It was kind of scary, but I said, just keep looking. Then all of a sudden my dad was at the end of my bed, wearing kind of like a monk's cloak in brown. Wow. And I scrambled to the edge of the bed, grabbed his arm, and looked at his eyes, and he was looking at me intently, just kind of like nodding. His eyes were kind of watery. His face was a little thinner than I remembered. And I was like, "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you." And he didn't say anything. He just looked at me like, knowing look, like, yes, it's me. And then he was gone. And it was so real that I went back, like scrambled back into bed, my astral body, I guess, because then I was laying there awake just thinking, oh my God, the experience, this was so amazing, this was so incredible. And it's like it happened yesterday. I mean, it was so vivid. And then when I spoke to a psychic and told him about it, he says, "Oh yeah, you saw him on the astral plane. That's what that was." Because it wasn't a dream. It wasn't a dream. And it was so amazing.
And that was here in the Valley?
Yeah, that was in the Valley.
When we come back, I'm gonna trip you out. We got to take a break right here, so let's do this. But when we come back, I've told the story a lot on the air, but because you're from the Valley, I'll tell you about my little experience in Sherman Oaks in the corner of my bedroom. It's pretty trippy, and it went down on Ventura Boulevard, by the way. There you go. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Marla Martenson. We're going to do it all tonight. Little Reiki, paranormal, it's all connected. This is Fade to Black. We'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Kat Deely, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers. Well,
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code TALK.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Marla Martenson, Reiki Master. We're crystals, healing, it's all connected. And tonight, that's what we're going to do. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, Fader night, Dr. Lynn Katai is going to be here for the 20th anniversary of the Phoenix Lights. And John Rappaport, of course, with his No More Fake Newsroom. Marla, right before the break, I brought up this little thing that happened in my bedroom. There was a guy standing in the corner. It's a little visit, right? And went down for about 15 minutes, right in the middle of Sherman Oaks, which is, it's about as metropolitan as it gets. You don't have to be out in the country in a cabin for something like this to happen. It happened to you here in the Valley too. It can go down in the big city, can it?
Yeah, and did you hear anything about there's some porthole in the valley? A portal?
Yes, I've heard that a few times over the years, and I've been trying to find it. Where is it?
I'm not sure. I heard something about it. I got to do a little more investigating about that, but it's somewhere. Yeah, we got to go on a hunt and find that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe that's where our visitors are coming out of. So I can't wait to hear about your visitor.
Wow, mine, I've told the story a million times, so it's not that big of a deal. It was just a little dude in the corner of my bedroom, and just it was almost how you described yours, but without the light. And what tripped me out, and which is what I want to throw back to you, I'm imagining a flying saucer above our condo, right? That's what I'm thinking. We're here in a city. You always hear about this stuff going down at a lake or out in the forest or in the woods or at a cabin or a small town somewhere or the middle of the desert. But you don't need that for these kind of events to go down.
No, because, Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, he saw the flying saucer just off the 405.
That is one of the most incredible stories. When Daryl was on the show, I didn't know about that. And Daryl, this is the thing. This is what I find really interesting. When I get a guest on, like yourself, we're neighbors, right? And we're sitting here talking about the Valley. And when Daryl is describing that event with the Black Triangle coming down the 405, and it's above the Marriott Hotel, I know exactly where he's, and so I am able to picture everything as he's described it, because we've all here in Southern California come down the 405 from Santa Monica into the Valley a million times, and it's an extraordinary view. And Daryl's story was just absolutely fascinating. Fascinating
and
description.
Daryl lives in Woodland Hills, so he's in the Valley too. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Every time I drive by that Marriott, I look at it and I think that's where he saw it.
I do it every time now, Marla. I do it every single time I come down the 405. I look at the Marriott and I think about Daryl Anka.
And I think, come on, Bashar, come on, show it to me.
Well, there was another sighting that very similar to Daryl's, that somebody approached Steve Murillo with a videotape when he was at MUFON that was shot in Studio City. And Daryl's description, remember that triangle followed him, right, up the 101 freeway towards Studio City. And this video was shot by a couple of doctors in Studio City from the front of their house of a black triangle hovering above their place right there in Now, everybody understand what we're describing here. Studio City, Sherman Oaks, Woodland Hills, Reseda, Tarzana, Burbank, North Hollywood, all of we are naming these different cities, but it's really just one big community. These cities that we're talking about are divided by streets only, right? So it's just one big. Yeah, it's hard to describe to everybody because we talk about these. It's just the areas that we're talking about are just a couple of miles apart. Right. It's all connected. But
I was walking my dog. A few months ago. And I looked up at the sky and blue sky, and I'm right by the Van Nuys Airport, the private airport. So I always see planes and helicopters and private planes and jets and everything. But I saw this 4 lights in formation going very slowly across the sky. And I'm looking and I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's that? And then in my mind, I was ruling out, okay, it's not a helicopter. It's not an airplane because there was no body to it. It was just the lights and the formation and the way it was going slow. And as I'm discounting what it could be, I'm like, holy crap, I think it's a UFO.
Right.
And then I was like running with my, come on, Macy, and we're running and I'm following it. And then it disappeared. And then I was so excited that I went and laid down like in someone's lawn, so I could look up at the sky. And I was laying there and, one light came back and went by, and then I took a picture of it, and then I call my husband, and I say, hey, Adolfo, because he's really into astronomy, not astrology, astronomy. I said, hey, there's a UFO up here if you want to come up. And he's like, get home.
Just today in Twitter, one of our followers was posting these videos that he's shooting in Woodland Hills. And they are incredible. I watched 2 of them today. Woodland Hills, right? It's again, everybody, Woodland Hills is just another small community right here in the Valley. And these videos are incredible. I don't even know how to describe them.
I've got to see those.
I'll send you the links and you can go check it out. But pretty interesting, and
They're interesting. It's cool. The Valley is getting more and more exciting.
Well, when you go, this is the other thing that's really strange. Topanga Canyon, Woodland Hills, right? Yeah. Topanga Canyon over on the other side into PCH, that has been a UFO hotbed for decades, right? And the sightings and the things that have gone down in Topanga Canyon, which is the opposite side of Woodland Hills for everybody here. There's a mountain range, and this road goes up over the mountains to the Pacific Ocean. But that valley, that part, the valley, the Topanga Canyon, they call it, just UFO sightings nearly every single day shooting through the valley. Oh, my
gosh. I didn't know that. That is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So now for you, that sighting by Van Nuys Airport is interesting. Did you notice things strange in the sky throughout your life? Do you think you've been followed?
No, never. And but I've been looking around. I thought, because since I got into Bashar, and I'm really into channelers and channeling now, from this past 3 years and stuff. But I would start looking because of Daryl's story, and I saw First Contact, his documentary was fascinating, and so I'd look up sometimes. And anyway, I look at the sky because I just, I like nature, and I'm looking around, and I saw that. That was the first time, and I thought, okay, Adolfo thought I was crazy. I said, "Are you sure?" I mean, I said, I'm 2 blocks away. Can't you walk up here? I mean, aren't you interested? I mean, what if it's true? He's like, come on. He goes, get your butt home, And so I'm like, okay. So then I went out in the backyard. And I thought, and then I laid down in the backyard, and I saw a couple of lights again coming by. And so who did I call? Karen Dahlman.
Right.
The only person that I could call that would believe me besides my friend Julie. So I called her, and then I sent her the pictures. And she's like, oh, my God, that looks so cool. And we were just talking about it. And so, at least I had somebody who believed me.
Now, when it comes to Reiki, not to change the gears off of UFOs, because we're going to manage to swing this right back into the ET here quite easily. But Reiki, for me, is something that I've looked into over the years, but I'm also a little bit confused about what actually it is. We hear it talked about a lot. I'm a Reiki Master, I'm a practitioner, I study it. So for the audience, what is Reiki?
Yeah, it's a spiritual healing art, and its roots are in Japanese origin. And it's just it's a great tool for stress, relaxation. They're using it in hospitals across the country. It's not a cure for a disease or illness, but I've known people who have had stories that things have disappeared or they've gotten well. It's a great tool to use as a complement to chemotherapy or to traditional medicine. It's great to balance the chakras, balance the energy. It's universal life force energy. So if you think about what is animating us, how does our heart beat? What's beating our heart? Why are we warm? How are we? It's the universal energy that because everything's energy. So it's coming through the chakra system, which are spinning wheels. We've got 7 major ones on the body, and those spinning energetic wheels bring in that universal life force energy, and then distribute that. And so Reiki is energy coming through. So I wouldn't say I'm not a healer. I'm the facilitator. And a Reiki practitioner, a Reiki master, has been attuned by a Reiki master teacher. So I was attuned with some symbols and this energetic attunement that is passed down. So the way, and it's very interesting because just when I started in the first class, my hands started buzzing, I could feel it. And when the Reiki's turned on, so to say, if you will, it comes through and I can feel it. So when I'm giving, like yesterday, I'm up in Seattle right now and visiting my mom. And I said, do you want a session, a crystal healing Reiki session? Because I use crystals too. But so I was giving her the session, and I mean that my hands, I can feel the Reiki just flowing through into her. And it's just fabulous. And it's great when I'm laying down in bed watching TV. I mean, I put my hands on myself, on my abdomen or on my body, and I could feel the Reiki flowing through, or put my hand on my husband's arm, or he plays piano. He's a musician for a living, so his arms are hurting, and he says, oh, that feels so good. And it's just a great, I just think it's fantastic. It's everybody should try it.
Well, for those that are skeptics or that would call Reiki pseudoscience, their minds are not going to change. but the medical community in general is starting to realize and accept that there is something going on here. What do you think that it is? And it's not a replacement for traditional medicine, and I like the way that you put that. It's certainly not that, but it can be used in addition to, and if it is relaxing, if it is allowing people to feel better and certainly not think about what could be going on with them, that's a good thing, right?
Right, and the illnesses that we have, they start in the energetic field, and so that's why people will say, stress can cause cancer, stress can cause illnesses, heart attacks. So your thoughts are things, so it's all energy. So so it's good to be replenishing that energy, to move the energy, to clear the energy, not have it stagnant. It's a natural and safe method it's spiritual healing. It's been effective in helping virtually every known illness. It always creates a beneficial effect. It cannot do any harm. So there's no sense in not, trying it.
Well, you bring up a really good point, which is you can worry yourself into an illness, right? I mean, people can do that. And
yeah. If you're in a miserable job, how many people drop dead of a heart attack Monday morning? They'd rather drop dead than go to work one more day. We have more people dropping dead on Monday mornings than any other time, any other day. You're in a miserable marriage or relationship or just a lot of stress. I remember even grief. Christopher Reeve's wife, didn't she died of lung cancer not too long after he died, and the stress that poor woman had, and the grief is carried in the lungs. So there's the organs also hold emotions, stress. Everything's connected. So that's why meditation's great, yoga's great, energy work is great, all of the holistic things and really preventative stuff. I will do anything first before I would use pharmaceuticals or something drastic. I would try all the natural stuff first. That's just me. I like that. I think it's great to mix it. And of course, you don't want to, if something's wrong, you go to a doctor and that can help too. But I really love anything natural that we can do.
Does Reiki open those doors to the other things of the mind, such as intuition, intuitiveness, of course,
point.
conscious?
Yes, great point. So, being attuned to Reiki does often open up psychic abilities, intuition, and all of that. And so this is a great point because when Julie brought over shortly into our spiritual, adventure that we did together for the 2 years, real heavily, we were trying everything. And just after we started taking these classes, one night she came over to my house. Adolfo was at work. So I said, she walks in with these two big boards, and they were spirit boards, with the alphabet, and they were kind of big. She had printed them off the internet and had them put on tackboard, and they were real cartoonish and real whimsical. And so she said, let's try it. And I said, I've never tried this before. I wasn't one of those kids who ever got a Ouija board for Christmas or anything like that. So I'd never tried a talking board, and neither had she. So she brought over this little game piece for the planchette, and we set the stage, and we lit the candles and put crystals and said a prayer. And so, gosh darn, that planchette started moving, and we started communicating. And one of somebody who came through spelled the word angel, Angel. And I said, Angel, you're my angel. Oh my God. So this was one of the most exciting things that ever happened to me. So my angel's name is Mirth. Now, I wanted to be able to talk to Mirth on my own. So Julie would come over and we'd use the board. But when I'd try to use it on my own, nothing would happen. And I'd ask Mirth, why can't I use this on my own? And she would spell the word energy. So I said, okay, my energy's not right. I've got to meditate more. I've got to get my energy higher, or frequency higher. And so I tried. I bought a few more boards, went to the Psychic Eye and got a couple of Amy Zerner boards, really beautiful communication boards. And I'd sit there every single night for like only about 10 minutes because my back would start hurting. I'd get frustrated. It took me about 8 months. During that 8 months, I got attuned to Reiki, and I had some other energetic attunements, and I started doing energy work. And then one night I sat down and the planchette started moving, and that was it. I could communicate with Mirth on my own. And now I've got off the board. I could even channel her.
Is Mirth cool?
Mirth is so wonderful, and I do messages from Mirth. People can even get a message from her. They can go on my website, and for $15, you can have me channel Mirth, and I'll type it up and send you a message from her.
How do you spell Mirth?
Murth.
Murth. And
yeah,
how do you?
It was interesting because she said Mirther. She spelled Mirther, Merthyr. And so Julie goes, Google it. So I Googled it, and it was like a Welsh word for martyr. And I thought that sounds,
oh, that's dark.
Pretty spot on. Well,
right.
Because I was always like playing the victim, like in relationships and stuff. And I was like, well, that sounds like some work I've had to do on myself. So I'm like, Mirther. And then pretty soon she says, just call me Mirth.
And how do you know she's female? Because you're saying she.
Yeah, because, angels don't have a gender, but she comes through as, she says female, just as a reference point. And then I have my second in command. His name is Thomas, and he comes in sometimes too. So I've got two angels. Mirth is the main one, and Thomas is the second in command. And
I've got to ask, how is your husband with all of this?
Oh boy!
I mean, do you talk about Thomas and Mirth?
I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed anymore. He says, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this. Am I allowed to swear on this show?
No, it's a family show. I
BS.
try to keep.
All right, BS.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I'm not allowed. He says angels don't exist. They are only depictions of the Michelangelo painted in Italy. So I'm like, all right. He can't. He's not on board with that.
Wow.
He finally loves to get Reiki sessions from me because the first time I gave him a little bit of Reiki, he thought he went freaked out and said, what are you trying to do? Give me a stroke? Because he really felt the energy, and he was like, you're dangerous. This is crazy. What are you doing?
Right.
Now he goes, oh, heal me, give me Reiki. He loves it. He loves the crystals. He loves the Reiki, but don't talk about channeling. Don't talk about angels. Don't talk about psychics. Don't talk about tarot cards. Nothing like that. So I'm like, okay.
We need to take Adolfo out to the desert with some night vision glasses.
I know. That's what I want to do.
I'll straighten him out real quick. That'll be one wild drive home for the two of you.
He'll probably find or say, well, those glasses were rigged, or that wasn't, he'll find something to debunk it.
No. I love a victim like that. We can straighten Adolfo out. But and the other, what I find strange, and I like the yin-yang kind of thing between the two of you, because that balances you out. That makes a lot of sense. But he's also a musician.
Yeah.
Where is this coming from? It seems like he would be on your side of the fence.
He's from Mexico City, from a Catholic family. He grew up with those teachings, so, it's just more traditional, I guess. He's, even though he's really not practicing now, but that's his base that he had. But I don't want to sound like a kook either, because I was worried about that, because I would listen to Doreen Virtue or some of these angel communicators, and I always found it fascinating. But I thought to myself, come on, she's given these messages from angels. Are you kidding?
Right.
How is she doing? I really was skeptical, even though I believed in angels, but I didn't have any connections. Once I was on this path and was getting attuned and could feel the energy and actually communicated myself, I said, okay, this is real. It really is real. But I can understand other people not being able to get there yet or believe it. And I was worried. I thought, ooh, I don't want to sound, and I'd always kind of qualify it like, I know it sounds crazy, but now that I meet so many people, Jimmy, this is so interesting that with your show and so many other shows and YouTube and on the internet and Facebook groups, so many people are into now aliens and angels and going to the other side and communicating and ghost hunting. And it's really more mainstream almost now.
You know what I find interesting, and I'm going to throw this right directly at you. This is what I find interesting. When you go to like Conscious Life or Contact in the Desert, you go to these big events and you hang out with, you know, people that you respect, researchers and authors and things, and you'll get certain segments that go, you know, I was abducted, and I get that, and I talk to my alien friends, but those channelers, I'm not into, you know, and then you'll have like channel, or, you know, these different segmented groups that don't get, these are free thinkers, man. This is an atmosphere of free thinking, and even in those groups, they don't necessarily cross over into the other groups, and I find that fascinating. And with Bashar, with Daryl Anka, and I recommend his videos to anybody. Watch Daryl when we are talking about channeling, and you watch him go into the zone and start to channel Bashar. If you've ever questioned what is going on here, go watch Daryl. Daryl is a fascinating thing, and his description from Bashar on time travel and what time travel is, I listened to that 50 times. One of the most mind-blowing explanations of time travel that I've ever heard. And that doesn't come from Daryl's mind. Daryl's not, you know, making this up. It's not.
And he can answer any question, because people will get up and ask questions at the events, and there's no way that Daryl could just be answering so fast all these complicated questions. And the thing I find fascinating, so one thing that my husband he's very into astronomy and studies the planets and all of that, like goes to JPL and stuff. And he says, I'm sure there's life out there, but there's no way they could get here. It's too far. But the way Bashar describes it is they're going through the location is in the object. He was explaining, and then it's so a lot of people will say, well, they're traveling through dimensions, or
right.
And I would tell that to Adolfo, but it could be, you know, if you open your mind, maybe they get here, they're more advanced than us, or they're going through a dimension, or like Bashar says, that the location is actually in the object instead of the object going to the location, and that's how his ship gets here. And then he's just like, that's crazy. There's no way. It's ridiculous, you know. So I guess I just have a really, really open mind, although I do have trouble when people are saying I was abducted and then they were doing tests on me and brought me back. I can't wrap my head around that.
Well, see, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly it. I find that just utterly fascinating. Yeah. And for me, I've had my own experiences, and so has everybody else. So have you. And we know that there is something strange going on this planet that we cannot explain. And if one little piece of it is real, and I'm serious about this, Marla, one little piece, whether it's channeling or ET contact, near-death experiences, the other side, Akashic, if one little, the Ouija, for example, if one little piece of this is real, then it's all good. It's all happening.
And it is, because there's too many things going on, like you said, and there's too many, the channelers, like if you watch Paul Selig, too, with the guides, you know, and he's totally like, you know, a Yale educated, you know, professor, and totally not a woo-woo guy. He says, I'm not a woo-woo guy. I'm not a guru. He says, never would he have expected this to happen to him. And he channels, and he's channeled like 4 or 5 books, and I've interviewed him. He's amazing too. He has a really different style of channeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, Marla Martenson, and it's all connected. Trust me. When we come back, I want to talk a little crystals and some other stuff. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Marla right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Oh,
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hey there, quick question for you. Would you be okay with more energy, more endurance, thicker, healthier hair, a better mood, reduced appearance of wrinkles, improved sleep, improved blood pressure and cholesterol profiles, improved vision, improved memory? Okay then. Well, now, have you heard of Nature's Youth RSF? It's from the anti-aging experts at nature'syouth.com. Nature'syouth.com. See, at Nature's Youth, they understand exactly what it means to provide top-quality health products. And Nature's Youth customers not only improve their health, they know they're also providing their body with the right nourishment to maintain that peak performance and fight the aging process. If health, wellness, and nutrition are what you desire, choose Nature's Youth RSF. I did. You see, you're going to get older. It's just up to you how you feel when you get there. Get started today. Nature's Youth RSF. Simple to use, simple to order. Go to nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com.
I was introduced to this remarkable product, Balance of Nature Fruits and Veggies, and to say it's amazing is an understatement. Balance of Nature provides the nutrients of 9 to 11 servings of 31 different whole ripened fruits and veggies per day, and the cost to the consumer for 9 to 11 servings is about 22 cents per serving, as opposed to over $1 in the store. Balance of Nature Fruits and Veggies helps boost the immune system by over 720%, and they also provide a health coach for you at no charge to guide you with any questions you may have. And you can also visit their website for testimonials on balanceofnature.com. So take steps to give yourself better overall health and call them now, toll free at 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751, or go to balanceofnature.com right now. Make sure to let them know you heard it here by using promo code TALK for a special discount. That's balanceofnature.com and use promo code TALK.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. This portion of the show is brought to you by River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Yeah, it's dark and smoky. Just go to the River Moon Coffee banner right there at jimmychurchradio.com. Click on it, use the promo code F2B blend, and you will get 15% off of your order. Marla, I want to talk crystals, and what's really interesting for me when it comes to crystals, I, like you, I was introduced to crystals 4 or 5 years ago, right? This is a pretty new thing for me. Walking through different bookstores and, places like the Psychic Eye, where crystals are everywhere. You go to the conferences and you see them. It's a new experience now. And you mentioned pendulums earlier, and I want to discuss that because just this week, Rita walks into the bunker with a pendulum, right? And it's and she's standing there. I'm working, right? And as she's standing there, this thing went from perfectly still to like bizarro. This thing is just like, and I was like, okay, come on now. I didn't know that we had one. It turned out this was a gift from a friend probably 10 or 15 years ago. It was a gift that was put away and it was rediscovered. And so I took the pendulum, and because I thought it was Rita just swinging this thing around. And I take it, it's hanging perfectly still, and it just takes off. Right? I'm watching. I'm like, wait a minute here. There's something going on, and it's. I know it's not me. I'm holding it. You know what I mean? It's hard. Yeah. It's like proof for yourself to see this thing take off. So I went from room to room. It went back into Rita's studio, and I walked in. I picked, and it just like takes off. What is going on? I can't explain it.
It's like dowsing. I mean, pendulums are interesting. So everything's energy, right? So I use pendulums when I'm giving a session of Reiki crystal healing. So somebody will be laying on my table, and I'll hold the pendulum over each chakra to see if the energy's flowing, if it's open. And like I did my session for my mom yesterday, all her chakras were closed. They were blocked. So the pendulum was sitting there, didn't move. And then once I cleared and I gave her some energy and all that, did the session, then at the end I check them again and they're all open. So the pendulum starts turning. You can use it on food. You can say, to it, hey, pendulum, is this good for my body? Is this okay? Or is there chemicals? And you have to program it first. So you program it and you say, tell me, you hold it and you'll say, tell me yes, tell me no, tell me maybe, and it will swing the way it wants, and then it's programmed, so it'll always do that. So maybe, or I don't know, and yes, and it'll attune to you, and you want to cleanse it when you get one. When you buy one from a shop, you want to take it home and smudge it or sage it or whatever, so that you're cleansing off anybody else's energy. And then you program it, and then you can start using it. And one thing that's really fun that I like to do, I don't read tarot cards. I don't know them yet. It's, I haven't learned that, but there's the oracle cards where you can, like the Ascended Masters cards or whatever. So I'll spread the cards all out, face down, and I'll hold my pendulum over each card. I'll say, what do I need to know right now? Spirit, whatever. What message do I need to know? And I'll hold the pendulum over each card, and it'll start moving over one card. I'll pick up that card, and it's the exact message I need to hear, or it'll speak to me. And it's so interesting. So yeah, pendulums are quite, they're quite fascinating.
For the audience that is listening to us right now going, okay, this is too much, man. I'm here to tell you, we have never touched a pendulum, didn't know that we had it, and I watched this thing go nuts. I can't explain it. I always thought it was just some micro movement of somebody's hand, and you can't tell, but they know, because we've all swung yo-yos, right? We've all done these things. And I'm not dumb, right? And I don't want to be played. But you turned around and you hold one for yourself, and you know that you're not moving it, and you watch it just slowly take off or not. And that's the other thing. There were a couple of times where I couldn't get it to move. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's another thing where it's like, my husband, he's like, you're moving it. I'm like, no, I'm not.
I know, exactly.
The same thing with the talking board. It's like, he's like, you're moving it. And I'm like, no, I'm not moving it. Why? I'm like, why? Just like you, I'm not dumb. Why would a professional middle-aged woman sit there and pretend to move something? Like, I have better things to do with my time, It's
right,
like,
right.
Going to sit there and make it up. It's just not going to happen. So
now I want to stay on this pendulum thing for a second. I need your advice here. Okay, we didn't do any cleansing. We don't know anything about it. We haven't gone and researched or look on the net to figure out what we're doing with this. This is just something that we have. You just said we need to cleanse it.
Yeah, and pendulums have been used for thousands of years, so it's not anything new or what. Always, and crystals too. So when you have new tools that you're working with, metaphysical tools, whether it's crystals or a pendulum, there's other people who have been handling it. You don't know where it's been, so energy can get on there, or you want your own fresh start there. You want to have your own energy and have it work with you. So cleansing it can be easy. With a pendulum, I just hold it over burning sage or incense and let the incense, waft over it and mentally say, you're being cleared. It's just a good idea.
Okay, so then the next step, you said you need to
Program it.
Program it.
You program it so you'll hold your pendulum and you'll say to your pendulum, show me yes. It'll start moving either probably clockwise or counterclockwise. My yes for my pendulum is clockwise, so it goes clockwise. Now you'll say, show me no. Maybe it'll go counterclockwise, so then you know, okay, no is counterclockwise.
Oh, man.
Show me maybe. My maybe goes back and forth, straight forward and back.
Right.
So that's how my pendulum always does it, because it programs itself when you tell it, say, show me. Try it. It's fascinating.
Oh, man. I know right now down the hall from the bunker in Rita's studio, she's got that pendulum out right now and is programming it. Okay, I can't wait to get the pendulum and check this out after the show. I'm blown away by it. And let's shift the same thing. I know how you just mentioned it's dowsing or the planchette on the Ouija board too as well. How do your husband's a skeptic? And when it comes to this, and so are a lot of people, including myself to a certain point when it comes to the Ouija. I know it's not now, but certainly over the years, my perception has always been, I watched my mom Ouija when I was a kid, and I always thought that they were messing with each other, right? That's just what I thought. But that's certainly not the case. Is it
Did you try it now, Jimmy? Have you tried it?
No, no. And I know, look, I know Karen and others have told me, look, man, it's just a tool. You need to know what you're doing and stuff, but it's okay. It freaks me out.
The word Ouija is really like Kleenex or or a Dixie cup. It's just a trademark name. It's not, people are so afraid of that because of Hollywood and The Exorcist and stuff. So there's a lot of fear around it and all of that. But yeah, talking board, communication board, angel board. Basically, all it is that. And it was so funny because I said to my husband, I said, it's so interesting that intelligent adults are afraid of the alphabet written on a piece of cardboard. I just find it fascinating that there's so much fear around the alphabet. And I have a Ouija mug. It's so funny.
I do too. I have one.
You have one? And he says, get rid of that mug. You got to get rid of that mug. And I said, get rid of the mug. It's my favorite mug. He goes, well, do you think that the spirits could swap from the board to the mug?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, there's no spirits in the board or the mug. It's just a neutral piece of paper.
I like Adolfo. I like him. Well, I'm the same way. My Ouija mug, which was a gift from one of the Fadernauts out there, and gave it to me. It's cool looking and everything else. It just vibes me out. It vibes me out. It just it just does. It just does. It's at home. It's not in the bunker. It's not here with me.
Karen have got to get you on that board one day.
I know, and we will do it. Well, Contact in the Desert. Are you guys going to go to Contact?
She's going to be there. I'm not going to be there this year, but she will be there.
Why? Why aren't you going?
I don't know.
You need to go. If she shows up with the Ouija board, we have a very cool area that we will definitely fire that thing up, and I will do it. I will do it, but only because I'm in the presence of a professional. That's the only reason.
She's been doing it over 40 years. Yep.
Now, crystals. That's the other thing that I'm fascinated with today. How do you shop for them? How do you connect with them? And what advice can you give? Oh, by the way, I want to open up the phone lines before we start to run out of time here. 323-825-5045. And let me click on a couple of buttons, and I'm going to do that now. Phone lines are now open, 323-825-5045. I can see the questions coming in Twitter. So let's go ahead and open up the phone lines. How do you select a crystal?
Crystals, the first thing is just go to a shop and look around and pick one up, feel them, and just whatever you are connected with, whatever maybe looks pretty to you. It depends. Maybe you want it for a decoration. Maybe you want to buy one as a piece of jewelry. Maybe you want to start using it to meditate with. So I'd say just pick what you're called to at first. They do have. I have a great quote from Teal Swan, who's a spiritual. She calls herself the spiritual catalyst about crystals, and she says the idea of a crystal being anything more than a pretty rock sounds like New Age hooey, but there is more to this life than the physical dimension. Our current definition of what makes something alive versus dead is inadequate. It's time that we begin looking at the concept of alive in terms of consciousness. Crystals are living beings, so once you can get over the socially conditioned embarrassment of talking to a rock, you will discover that they are more likely good friends or family members than they are tools. So crystals hold, as we know, they hold information, and frequencies. That's why they use it for radios and computer chips and all of that, because they can transmit, they can hold, store, yeah, and be programmed. So you program, you cleanse those, and you put. So when you buy a crystal, take it home, cleanse it, which means put some. Sage it or use some incense, or if it's a polished rock, you can run it under cold water. You can bury it out in the earth under the full moon. You can set it out under the full moon. You could Google how to cleanse a crystal.
I have a bunch, and what attracts me to certain crystals, and it's just me, is I like to look inside of them. Right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I like to look for different things. Now, also, some things have started to appear that weren't there when I first got the crystal. Okay? Now, I don't want to sound all crazy, but things are appearing in the crystals. What do you think is going on? I see different things, pyramids or maybe a little ET guy or a little ghost figure, maybe even an animal, but they weren't there before. Right.
Yeah. Well, like they are have a consciousness, so they can be evolving as well. And yeah, so clear quartz crystal is the most popular, and that's what people usually think of when we think of a crystal. But all stones are crystals, like rose quartz, carnelian, lapis lazuli, selenite. There's all the real cool thing, which is actually not a crystal, but it's fossilized tree resin, is amber. And if you look in amber, you can find, which is could be millions of years old, you can find insects trapped in there, or leaves, or pine needles, which is really beautiful and interesting to look inside a piece of amber.
I have seen. I'm holding up for the studio cam here, the bunker cam, some of the crystals that I keep here in the studio. Some are massive. I have Lemurian quartz that I'm holding up right now. This thing is probably, I don't know, 5 pounds. I don't know. It's big. It's a big chunk of crystal. And I see stuff in here forming all of the time. And Rita has one specifically, and I've shown this to so many different people. It has a 3D perfect on the inside, and it's not very big. The crystal itself is probably 3 inches long and maybe a half inch around. But anyway, inside of this crystal is a perfect pyramid. Perfect pyramid. I cannot explain. And then below that, and I've had so many people look at it that said that they think that this was manufactured, that somebody's messing with us. But below it, it looks like a strip of Egyptian hieroglyphics. And it's right there, and it's below the pyramid. I can't explain it. And
wow, you've got to post that. I want to see a picture of that.
Well, Rita's got lots of pictures of it, and she can send those. And Rita, if you're listening, can you post? Do you have pictures of the pyramid or the hieroglyphics that we can get up in Twitter? You have to see this. Yeah, are you on Twitter, Marla?
Yes.
Okay, what's your Twitter handle?
At Marla Martenson.
Oh, that's simple?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rita's been tweeting, adding me.
Oh, has she? Well, see, yeah. Twitter, I use TweetDeck, and it rattles by so fast here. Marla Martenson, there you are, right there. Okay. I'm tweeting you out right now. Okay, you're done. And so I want to share these pictures with everybody. I don't know really what's going on with the appearance of the what's the word? Appearance isn't the right word. The when something does appear. What's the word? What's the word that
appear?
Because they weren't there before.
Right. It just it's I don't know. It's really magical.
Now I want to go back now and with Reiki, which was also the part of I want to say your enlightenment, the beginning of your journey. This intuitiveness that is going on with you. The world right now is a trippy place. Things are spinning out of control. How do you use not only Reiki and your the abilities that you have now to recognize what is going on, because the world seems to be heading down this dark path, and how do you use all of this to recognize what's going on and also to keep yourself balanced? Oh, Gabriel just said manifest. Yes,
manifest. Okay,
yes, that's the word, Gabriel. Thank you.
Yay.
You got to love the audience. How do you use that to keep yourself in check?
Yeah, I've become so sensitive. I mean, I'm also a vegan. I've always been connected with animals, and I've become so much more sensitive to energy that all of these animals that are being, slaughtered and tortured, millions, trillions, millions a day around the earth. I feel so on edge. I have a lot of anxiety. It's really hard for me knowing, there's a lot of wars going on, just the energy. It's kind of overwhelming, and I have to kind of stay grounded. And sometimes even I'll just get up out of bed and I have to have something cold, some cold fruit, some cold juice, something just to cool me down or something, the anxiety of it. So it has made me more heightened energetically and sensitive. But it's like we're in transitional times, what they call end times, like 2012, when the Mayans would say, the world's not really ending, but it's ending as we have known it, because doesn't it seem like time is just like going faster and faster, and things that are just like we were talking about, how more and more people are seeing more craft in the air, or ETs, or connecting with angels, or they're just more and more people are into this stuff. Things that are falling away, maybe old relationships, lifetime careers, outdated thoughts or emotions, our vibrations are kind of, things are shifting, and I think everybody can kind of feel that. And it is kind of hard. It's not easy being on this earth. We're come down here in this 3D dimension, and it's not an easy place.
Zeke just said materialize. Yeah, everybody's giving us the word. Yeah, we're stumbling here. But yeah, absolutely materialize. I think part of the awakening that is occurring, and certainly with those that were in doubt about our little circle, right? That when you start to realize that, fake news is real news that you thought was real, turns out not to be real, or that the manipulation of our thoughts now, George Orwell talked about this a lot in 1984, that we are being lied to and manipulated so much, the vast majority of the world never believed those thoughts. Now they have to step back and go, wait a minute. Things are not what they seem, and that's confusing them. And then they look back at us where we go, ha ha, told you, right?
Yeah.
It's a strange world out there. It turns out that us, the strange ones, are the ones that are actually perfectly normal, and we aren't reacting to the fake news business like everybody else is. But the world now consciously is tripping out, right? And that's what I think is going on.
Yeah, we would have been considered kind of, loony, before, but now it's a little bit more, oh yeah, wow, that's interesting. And even just the TV, my husband and I watch a lot of the Showtime and HBO series that are so great. There's Vikings and Game of Thrones and all these wonderful shows, but they're all so violent. It seems like every show, even like The Blacklist, like these great acting and costumes and writing, but all this violence. And as I've been getting more sensitive too, I'll be putting my head under the covers, or I can't watch that. I put oh no, that guy's getting his hand cut off, or his, whatever, his head chopped off. And he's like, it's just a show. What are you kidding me? It's fake. And I'm like, but it's not. It's still like, if you look at a lemon and you don't eat it, but you think about eating it, your mouth waters. So it doesn't have to be something that's really happening for it to affect us. So I think more and more things, like you said, that are being given to us, and so much violence is pumped into our brains.
Well, and what does that say about our children and our children's children today who have grown up? You and I, growing up, we had 3 channels on TV, and cable was something that some rich dude had with a big satellite dish in his backyard. Yeah. And so we were limited. But today, children today, our daughters, and I'm talking about Rita's and our children, they grew up with 500 channels, right? Direct TV, the internet, where shock value was always getting one-upped. And to them, the violence or the paranormal or E.T., these things, fighting E.T. and so forth, is they're numb to that. They're completely numb to the violence because they've been exposed to it. Can you imagine, Marla, if you and I had seen ISIS beheading videos when we were 5 years old, right?
Right, and now it's not just fake on TV, on movie. It's real.
It's real.
It's real. It's the violence, and we've always had violence throughout history. Of course, the Vikings and the Romans, and if you go back, but now it's on TV. It's on the internet. We're seeing it. We find out about it within seconds of things happening, and it's very scary. And then the population's bigger, so of course there's more violence. We didn't have to have as much crime when you and I were kids. I mean, now it's really like you got alarms on the house, in the car, and everywhere. So it's just gotten a little. It's kind of a scary world. So that's why I do appreciate my spiritual practice, my grounding, my meditating, my my prayer work, my energy work, kind of just to and then using Archangel Michael. When we leave on vacation, I put him in charge of taking care of the house. Watch over our house. Or guard. People can do crystal grids and to guard the house or to safeguard it from this and that and energetic stuff. And it's kind of cool, because you feel like you have some cosmic team, helping you out, because it's like, what else are you going to do?
Well, and it's real. See, that's the thing. The question of whether we are alone in the universe, that's been answered. Is there life after death? I feel that's been answered. Reincarnation, I've always believed in that since I was a kid. There's always been something for that. Those things, I think science is getting closer and closer to showing us that there is another dimension out there, that there is another world, and it depends on the frequency that you are on, if you can see this or not. And we're getting very, very close to this today, aren't we?
Yes, very close. And that's right, frequency. So we're all energy, and when we're vibrating at a higher frequency, that's when things happen. And it's very interesting. And now I've been working on opening the third eye. So there's this healer called Zarathustra, and you might know who he is.
Absolutely.
Great guy. And he was at the Conscious Life Expo, and Karen Dahlman and I went and had a private session with him this last month and we went in a different room, and he did some third eye activation stuff. And then the next week I went to a evening, like 3 to 4 hour workshop with him. It was all third eye activation stuff. And then the next weekend I went to an all day workshop with him and did third eye activation stuff. And it's really interesting because now, after that third time, and then I'm doing the meditation, this active meditation he taught me, out of my right eye, especially in the dark, now there's this light that flashes, this shard of light there. And it's kind of cool. It's like exciting, but at the same time, I'm like, oh gosh, what's going on here? Is my eye damaged or something?
Well, there's something to Zarathustra. And we're going to take a break right here. But I will say this, Marla, he's got the coolest goatee out of anybody I've ever met. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Marla Martenson. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Marla after the short break. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
Do you know what's in your body soap? Well, I didn't know the answer until about 5 years ago when I looked at the label of my soap and was shocked to see all the chemicals. For my entire life, I had been assaulting the largest organ of my body, my skin, and to think my children were using it too. Well, a lot has changed since then. Today, my family and I operate Stone City Farms, where we make and sell all-natural goat milk soap using fresh goat milk from goats we raise on our farm. Our mission at Stone City Farm is to produce high-quality, all-natural goat milk soap for people who want a fresh, unrefined, natural product. At Stone City Farms, we offer scented and unscented soaps and a signature line of gift sets customizable to your needs. To see what our customers are saying, go to StoneCityFarm.com. Use the code NATURAL for a 20% discount. That's StoneCityFarm.com, code NATURAL for 20% off your order. You never know what could be hiding in your soap.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Would you like relief from muscle pain, headaches, and discomfort to sleep better, have more energy during the day, and just feel naturally amazing? Fibromalic can help. Its blend of malic acid and magnesium can provide pain relief and comfort for those who experience fibromyalgia. It helps your body absorb more oxygen, and it works quickly for a significant reduction in pain within 48 hours, all without a prescription. Ask for Fibromalic at health and vitamin shops or shop fibromalic.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Teppy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Opening up the phone lines, 323-825-5045. Marla Martenson. Now, Marla, we were talking about channeling earlier, and certainly with your angel mirth. And there's been so much talk about E.T., the information that we're getting back here on our planet and what we are supposed to be doing here. But there's also the negative side that we get information to as well, that E.T. is both benevolent and malevolent. And I don't know, I just listen to everybody. But does Mirth have any comments on this? And have you contacted E.T.?
Okay, this is very interesting. So, I've heard of the reptilians and the malevolent things, but I really focus on all the good stuff. I'm more like sparkly crystals, angels. So I really stay away from anything negative. Although in my book, I do chronicle some lower level attachments that did, attach to me, and I had them removed. But I was on the board recently. And somebody came on, and I said, who is this? And he said, a friend of Bashar. And I said, what's your name? And he said, Winston. And I said, you're a friend of Bashar? He says, yes. I said, you're from the same planet as Bashar? He said, yes. And he says he wanted to channel through me. He wanted to connect with me. And I was so excited. But it's like so fantastical that sometimes when I hear myself saying it, like I'm hear myself saying it right now, I'm like, people are going to think I'm crazy. But he came on there. Just like
I don't think you're crazy. I want to know what Winston had to say. What did he say?
And he just said, a few things, and then I haven't connected with him that much because usually when I get on, and it's kind of draining because what happens is I'm on the board and sometimes I'll get hot flat flushes or my lower back will start to hurt, and sometimes it's in the evening, and then Mirth says, Marla, you're tired, go to bed. Like she's really pretty much her messages to me are always, I love you. You are loved. There's many angels around. God loves you. If I have a few questions, like, do you think, this job's going to come through, or will I get a new client soon? Yes. And then sometimes she'll say, let's talk. I'll ask her a question. She'll say, go to bed. You're tired. We can talk tomorrow. Go to bed. So she's just very, watching out for me. And then Winston, I need to connect with him some more, but I've been able to now, I get off the board and I can automatic write. So I get on my Word on the computer and I can type, I can hear and type. So I would love to, it's kind of scary. I'd love to channel like Daryl Anka. I'm totally mesmerized by channelers, Esther Hicks. And, I watch Jane Roberts videos from Seth, and there's a lot of channelers on YouTube right now, and they claim to be channeling ETs or people from, Pleiades or all these places. And sometimes even me, I mean, I like you said, I don't know if I believe everybody. Anybody can go and say they're doing it. I don't know. But there's certain people that are just, of course, like Daryl Anka and Paul Selig and Esther Hicks, and there's just no doubt in my mind. Then they always give great, I mean, they don't even go to anything dark or anything. So I'm not really well versed in those malevolent beings coming through.
Yeah, but back to Winston, he said that he wanted to communicate with you. Did he say what he wanted to talk about? And
just be like a guide and stuff. And I haven't. I'll have to get back to you on this because I didn't follow up too much with it. He's there, and I could have him come through, and I'm going to have to go back to it. I don't know why I haven't been, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to find out.
And Mirth, does she ever comment about ET and contact and communication?
No, but if you listen to Bashar, he says that we'll have contact by between 2025 and 2030, right? So,
right.
Yeah, I haven't asked.
Well, there's one interesting thing that's going to happen, which is in 2022, we're going to have a supernova. We're going to have a new star in the sky. Yeah, and that's coming up. And what's interesting about that is it's 10 years after 2012. There's a lot of talk about it now, but what's really interesting for me is this isn't the first time that this has happened. We have had one that happened in 1600, right about that time. Well documented. A star just appeared in the sky and was there. It was a supernova. But how many times throughout history has these events, how many times have they happened? And where we have confused these appearances for something else, and are they part of a more extraordinary event like what's about to happen in 2022? This is a real event. It's going to happen. But what about the Star of Bethlehem, right?
Right. Well, it's that star, Jimmy. I keep seeing it in the sky over here in the valley. It's like so bright.
What is that? What is? Okay. Marla, I'm glad you brought this up. There is a star that doesn't show up on my star charts that Marla is talking about. It's on the west. Yeah, I guess it would be the west side of the valley.
Yeah,
and it is brighter than. I don't even know how to explain it.
It's brighter than an airplane light.
Right. If it was a little bigger, you would think it was the friggin' moon, right? Yeah. And it shows up on the west end of the valley, and nobody talks about this. I went out, this was a couple of months ago, and I pointed it out to Rita, and I said, there it is. Man, I see it every single night, and I line it up with this palm tree in our yard. And I said, now just watch, right? And it'll be here, and every single night, it's right there. I don't know. What do you think it is? Ah, did I lose Marla? Marla, are you there? Okay, something strange is going on. There is. Let me do this here. I've lost Marla. She'll be back. I'm watching the phone system. It's still live, so we'll wait and see if she resets. I'm not going to touch it. There is this bright object now. I don't know how degrees are measured. I don't know how they do 30 degrees or it's 15 or 60. I don't know. But I'll say this, facing west out of our backyard, facing west across the valley, which is about 40 miles long, it is, if I put my arm out in front of me and I kick up my arm so it's almost level with my eyes. You're watching me do this on the bunker cam. Like about like this. It's right there. And it's this humongo bright star. Now, so I've got my star chart, right, whatever it's called, on my cell phone. It's I use Star Chart. It's called Star Chart. And I put up the star chart and it's not there. All the other stars are there. Everything lines up, but not this one. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is the possibilities of it being a satellite that is being positioned, right? That it's possibly military. It doesn't move. Okay, that's the other thing. It doesn't move. It doesn't move with the other stars. It stays right there. It is bizarre. And if you live in the valley and you have seen what I'm talking about, I would love to hear from you. Because of our timing, we can only watch this on the weekends, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when we're not doing this show. So during the week, Monday through Thursday, we're over here underground in the bunker, and I'm not out looking at this. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, out there cooking in the backyard, I look up and there it is every single day. The rest of the constellations, everything else is moving. Mars is moving. You know, I'm watching the Milky Way move. I can see all of that. I can watch the moon move across the sky throughout the night. Not this star. This star stays right there on the far side of the valley, and it is bright. I am so glad that Marla's brought it up. Okay, I don't know what's going on here with this, so I'm going to do this. Let me click. Ooh. Okay, we've got something really funky going on here. The phone system will not allow me to redial her? What? Okay, that's bizarre. Okay, hold on for a second. I don't know what's going on. Okay. This is, yeah, okay, yeah, I just got a text, and she's saying the same thing. It's not allowing her to hang up and redial, and I cannot do it either with my system. Okay, so let me try this. Okay, this is in real time. I'm not digging what's going on. I'm going to try this in real time. Okay, in the meantime, let me do that. You gotta love this. I'll just go to the phone system here really quick. Let's just go to the phone. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Jimmy, this is Ken from Irvine. Man, am I glad you mentioned that thing in the sky. I have been watching this thing for a year. and you look at it, and it doesn't move, and it's bright, and it's just not natural.
No, and it's not my imagination, is it?
No, sir, it's there, and I keep pointing to my wife, look, dear, it's going to be there tomorrow night, and it's not going to move with the rest of the stars.
No, what do you think it is? I have no clue, and she describes it really, really well. It looks like the landing light of a plane or like the headlight of a car, right? It is bright and pointing towards us, isn't it?
It is that bright, and it's that unnatural. It doesn't look like something that just developed. It looks like something that was made. Absolutely.
Do you think...
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not moving.
Yeah, and why isn't it on the news? You know, why aren't people talking about this? I don't get it. Do you think it could be a military satellite that is being positioned over Los Angeles every single night? It moves in and they turn it on?
Well, that's, I think, the scariest part about it is we are all so willing to just look up and say, oh, bright thing in the sky, it'll be there tomorrow night, with really no big push to tell us what this is. You got me, Jimmy. I'm just real glad to hear you say it.
Ken, thank you for the phone call, and I'm just glad I'm not losing my mind, man, because it is there for all of us.
Not the only one. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right. Thank you, Ken. Great phone call. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're live.
Hello?
You're live.
Hi, Jimmy. This is DB calling from Dublin, Ohio.
How are you, DB? Everything good?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing well. I'm actually a first-time caller and recently started listening to your show about 6 weeks ago, so enjoying it. Doing a fantastic job.
So that's going well
Thanks
for you.
Yeah. Sorry. I actually had a comment about the star that you guys are talking about, and I can see it heading west, and it pops up right around 7 o'clock my time and stays about 9:30 or 10. And I believe it's actually the Alpharez star.
Do you really? And are you able to find that in your star chart? It doesn't show up on mine.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I've got the... Let me check what app I'm using. I think might actually be the same one that you have.
Yeah. Which I use, and I just said what I use. Yeah, I use Star Chart. That's what I use. But it doesn't show up on mine.
Check out the Great Square of Pegasus, and it'll be nearing the Andromeda Galaxy and the Andromeda constellation.
Right, and I've seen that, and it's almost lined up, right? Almost, and I'm with you. But there's also another star right next to the bright one that I'm referring to that lines up correctly. So you know what? I'm going to double check this weekend. I'm going to go out. I'll shoot some video and cop a couple of pictures of this. And the other thing is, I've never noticed it before. This has only been in the last year. And it is bright. I mean, it is easily 100 times brighter than anything else in the sky. And here in Los Angeles, no stars. Okay, we don't have stars here. When I take out my star chart and I point it at the sky, and I'm looking at like the Milky Way, right? And I can say, or Pegasus or whatever. It only shows up on the star chart. We don't have stars here, but that thing is lighting up the entire valley. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, DB, thank you for the phone call. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, we kind of live in the boonies, so there's not as much light pollution. And this thing, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like a flashlight pointing at your eyes.
Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like. Yes,
and it's like a blue pulse.
Blue pulse. Okay, I will. I'll check it out.
A blue pulse.
I'll check it out this weekend.
But yeah,
I'll take some pictures for everybody.
Alpharez.
Okay, Alpharez. I will look at that. Thank you, DB. Great,
right. Thanks, Jimmy.
Great phone call, first-time caller. I'm still trying to get Marla in here, 323-825-5045. You are live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, what's up, Jimmy? It's Mark from Chicago again.
Hey, Mark from Chicago again. How are you?
Not too bad. Yeah, that's not a star.
It's not, is it? And it's not my imagination. This thing is is freaky and it's big.
That's been there since last year. I noticed it back in April.
Now, let me ask you this really quick as I'm trying to reset my, I have two phone systems here, and I'm trying to reset. This is absolutely bizarre. I'm just trying to get Marla back on. I will get Marla on, everybody. Don't freak out. But you said that you noticed this back in April, not before then, and it seems to have appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, it just popped up. So either they put up a larger satellite, or it's something else that's sitting there, and they're not.
Yeah, and the other thought that I've had, and again, Mark, thank you for the phone call. The other thought that I had is where it's positioned in the sky, maybe it's still catching the sun, and the sun is reflecting off of it. I'm referring to a satellite.
Yeah, it is. It's something metallic, and it's reflective. Because usually you'll see the stars and they'll flicker.
Right.
And they may not flicker very fast. It'll be real slow. But this thing's just stagnant. And
right.
It's just bright. It looks like somebody has a light bulb on, like a LED light. And it's pointing down.
I am so glad to hear everybody say this because, well, no, I'm being serious because these are the same thoughts that I've been having, right? This is strange. I don't remember this ever being. I've been in Los Angeles since 1983. I don't remember anything like this going on. We've owned our house now for 6 years, and suddenly over the last year, this thing has appeared on the horizon every night, and it shows up at around 5 o'clock, and it's a blue sky. It's a blue sky, and this star, this thing is out there, and it sits there as the night continues, and now it's a black sky, and there's this bright thing sitting out there, and it's not moving with the stars or the moon or anything else.
Yeah, well, summer's coming now, so we've been getting, usually it's dark here, but we've been, summer's coming, so we've been getting a little bit more sun later in the evening, so around 6, 7 o'clock, it's still sunny here, and it's out there. Come like 7:30, 8 o'clock, it is out there.
Wow!
And you can see it. I think it's out there right now, but it's getting smaller because we're moving a little bit away from it. You guys are getting it now.
Right. So. Well, we get it at about 5 o'clock, but I'm going to check it out this weekend, and I'm going to go ahead and photograph this. I'm going to go ahead and shoot it. We've got a couple of nice cameras. I'm going to shoot some video, and I'm going to post it, and we'll talk about it on Monday on the show.
All right, sounds good. I'll be listening.
Thank you, Mark. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, man. Take care.
You got it. All right, now I've got Marla. I'm going to bring... Oh, I just lost her. Oh, no. Okay, hold on for a second here. I'm going to bring her in on another phone line, and I'm going to do this here. All right. I've got to mute that. Okay. Marla, are you there?
Yes. Wow, that was crazy.
I have never seen anything like that. And so that you are on, just so you know, Marla, you are sitting on a separate computer all by yourself, right? And there it sits on that phone system over there. You are now on another additional phone system that is separate from the other one. So, but I could not close that out. I couldn't hang up on you. I couldn't redial. I couldn't do anything. Very bizarre. So I'm restarting that phone system now and that computer. I'm just rebooting it, and everybody's watching me. It's kind of funny. With a live bunker cam, right, staring at me in the face, everybody gets to see me now jump through these hoops. Click, click.
I think it was the ET shutting us down.
That was pretty bizarre. I've never had that problem. I have phone problems all the time. That was different. Now, what was interesting while you were gone, I don't know if you heard any of this, but I took about 3, 4, 5 phone calls all talking about that star.
Oh, is it Venus? Is it a planet?
No. Well, everybody, except for one, he thinks it's a star in Pegasus. But the other 3 or 4 phone calls all said the same thing, that it has appeared over the last year. Before that, it wasn't there. And they're all saying the same thing, too, as well. It starts in the evening and doesn't move with the stars. It stays in the same position. But I got a phone call from Chicago. I got a phone call from Long Beach, right? Not the Valley, but from Long Beach. I can't remember the other 2 phone calls where they were from, but they were in different parts of the country, and they're all seeing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's so bright. And then I read online, because after I saw what I saw, I went online to see if there were other sightings in the valley, and they say that people think that's an craft or an ET, and they call and report it, but it's just that star that they see. They report that. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't line up with my star chart program that I use. And it does line up. It's been lining up with Pegasus. One of the callers said it's one of the stars in Pegasus. And I totally understand what he is saying, because Pegasus does line up, and you can line it up. But that particular star, Pegasus will move, right? And that star stays in the same spot. And there's a couple of other stars in Pegasus that are bright when it lines up, and it almost does, but it's not perfect. So I'm not saying that it's anything completely strange or completely whack. I don't know. But I never noticed this before. It's only been in the last year.
Yeah, me too. It's crazy.
Now, before I let you go, and thank you, do you want to hang on for a few minutes now that I lost you for 10? You want to hang on? Because we haven't talked about The Buddha Made Me Do It, one of the greatest titles in all of publishing history.
Oh, my gosh.
It's one of the great books. And now, because I also I want to bring you in on the other phone system if I can, so I'm going to test that. But I'm going to keep you on hold anyway here where things are running. But we'll be able to take calls if I switch things up. You have called The Buddha Made Me Do It the Eat, Pray, Love of Fringe, right?
Yeah, okay. It's kind of like an Eat, Pray, Love meets Bridget Jones's Diary kind of thing, almost. It's a spiritual memoir with a lot of humor.
But does that mean men can't enjoy this book?
Men love it too. I've had a lot of men read it, and they've enjoyed it. Yeah, it's both. I mean, I think as long as a guy's interested in spiritual things and stuff, I think they'd really enjoy it.
Okay, well, let's take a break right here, and we're going to talk about The Buddha Made Me Do It. I love that title. Right after this short break. So everybody stay with us. Our guest tonight, Marla Martenson. We're going to do a little bit of overtime right now with Marla, and we're going to discuss her new book. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Marla right after this short break. Stay with us.
And you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter. But
listening to Jimmy Church will.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my... It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. Mm-hmm. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code TSL.
Would odors, mold, and mildew describe your basement or crawl space? It doesn't have to be that way. Transform them into a fresh, healthy, usable one with the technologically advanced Wave Moisture Control Units. The computerized operation maximizes moisture control and also expels harmful radon, combustion gases, and numerous other pollutants. Dehumidifiers are old technology that do nothing for air quality and waste energy. Wave units are intelligent, self-monitoring, do not need maintenance, and will save you hundreds in electricity. Wave units are still running effectively over 15 years. They've been tested and installed in public and military housing and by property managers nationwide. Buy a unit now, and if your home is not fresher and drier, you can return it for a full refund for up to 12 months. What have you got to lose? Call now. 1-888-618-WAVE. 1-888-618-WAVE. Or visit mydryhome.com. That's mydryhome.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Marla Martenson. Her new book, The Buddha Made Me Do It. We're going to talk about that right now. Got Marla back, by the way, on the real channel. On the real, it's kind of funny. I was just looking in Twitter here, and it was New York, Ohio, Chicago, and Long Beach. 4 different calls, Marla, that all saw that are all seeing the same thing. And this other comment is pretty interesting. Start talking about the star, NSA shuts us down.
Oh.
Yeah, totally. Okay, the Buddha made me do it. The question is obvious. What made you write the book?
Yeah, it was, well, Julie suggested it, actually. She's a celebrity ghostwriter. And she lives very close to me, and we were doing all these fun things. And she says, hey, she was originally going to write it with me. She says, I have a fun project for us during the new year. This was 2 years ago. And she says, why don't we write from 2 perspectives, our spiritual journey. And so I'm like, great, that sounds great. So in January, I started writing my first chapter. And I said, hey, let me see yours. Mine's done. And she's like, yeah, I'm working on it. I'll show you something soon. So I start in on my second chapter. She still had nothing to show me. March comes along. I'm on my 3rd chapter. Hey, Julie, how are you doing? Yeah. And then finally she says, Marla, I can't do it. I have too much going on. I just can't do it. And so I said, well, I want to do it alone then, because this is turning out really great. I'm really loving this. Can I use you in it and your stories as well? And she said, yes. So I went ahead and wrote it. And it's just like packed with really cool stuff that we tried and that we learned and that we went through. And it's just, I think it's my best book, and I just love it. It's really fun.
Well, Rita's nearly finished it. And her comment to me when she handed it off to me, she said, not only is it cool, but it is funny. Now, I want to discuss some of the chapters specifically, but is the humor just your writing style, or did you try to maybe do an underhand slow pitch in softball and use humor to expose people to these subjects?
I'm always writing humor. So my memoir, Diary of a Beverly Hills Matchmaker, very funny as well. I take life lightheartedly, and myself. I don't take myself very seriously. So I poke fun at myself, and Adolfo's in the book, and it's very funny. So that's just my style. I mean, I'm always adding humor to things.
Chapter 2.
I knew you'd bring that one up.
I got to. The bamboo beating. I'm just going to hand that off to you.
That's my favorite chapter. When I went to do this, I thought, now this is going to be a good story, because I had gone into this place is it Thousand Oaks, called the Healing Tree, and they make homemade kombucha and teas and and stuff. So I went in there one day, just a fluke, stop by, and the guy who owns it, a Chinese doctor called Dr. Mo, this cute young guy, we started talking, and I found out that he did these sessions called percussion therapy. And there were some testimonials in a book, and there was a couple people, other customers there, that said, oh yeah, man, it's life-changing. And I thought, ooh, maybe I should try this, because, Adolfo and I were having a lot of arguments at that time about it was just a little stressful with my spiritual endeavors and things. And I thought, you know what, maybe I need to get, this therapy. It would really help, relieve some of this tension and stuff. And so what he does is he takes these bamboo sticks, and you're laying on a table, just in your underwear. And then he starts tapping, playing you like, he's playing the drums, but it's not that hard. He's not hitting you that hard, but it was the most painful thing I'd ever encountered, a burning, and I'm screaming. And then he's like, well, let's try some cupping therapy. So he's doing the cups, and then he adds a leech therapy. And so it's just a very humorous scenario. But I get home, and my whole body is covered in bruises, and I'm like, they're going to fade, but I'm like,
oh, we've lost you again, Marla. Unbelievable. Okay, I'm going to do this in real time.
And I thought, he can't.
Okay.
Yeah, he can't see this. What?
You're dropping in and out.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I here?
Yeah,
hello,
you're
hello.
here. Now, what's weird is you sound perfectly clear. It's just...
Okay.
Okay,
I'm just dropping in and out.
Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, continue. Okay, the bruising.
So I get the therapy, and then I'm like I wear pajamas and stuff so Adolfo can't see me, and I go back for a second treatment. And then I thought, I have to face the music. I'm going to have to admit because, the bruises aren't going to fade enough. He's going to want to be intimate or something and, have my pajamas off. So I'm like, I better tell him what's up. And so I showed him, and he did. He's like, are you crazy? You paid this guy to beat you, your beautiful skin. What if it never heals? And I'm like telling him, yes, but it's so beneficial. And I was really thought I'd lost my mind there, the poor guy. But that's my favorite chapter.
Now, getting my buzz on.
Getting my buzz on.
Chapter 10.
What was that? What's all right. Okay, chapter 14. All right. See, I got to go to it. Here I come. Chapter 11, chapter 10, getting my buzz on. Oh, well, that's when, that was after I saw my dad on the astral plane.
Right.
And the Reiki. Yeah, that's about the Reiki, because the Reiki buzz. You get the Reiki buzz. Yeah. So, but was that the the orgasmic meditation?
That I was trying to be gentle, but yes.
You didn't want to say that. Yeah. For you guys out there, I did not do it. All right. Somebody approached me, a woman, and said what was going on in Los Angeles, this new kind of meditation and this orgasmic meditation. And I tried to get for the book. I tried to get Julie. I called her up. I said, Julie, would you go do this so I could write about it? And she was like, what? And I explained it, and you'll have to read the book because it is a family show, right? So, but she declined it. I wasn't going to try it. So I just wrote about what it is. And anyway.
Okay.
That's the one that I'd rather be beaten with bamboo than go and do orgasmic meditation. So, that's all I'll say.
Okay. Donuts, deceit, and an explosion.
Yes. Well, the donuts and that has something to do with Julie meeting some guy in their meeting places at Dunkin' Donuts in the Valley. All right. So the explosion was my cleavage. And that's when Adolfo says, I have angels too, because I've always been a very small chested gal, and I explode. Adolfo took me to Victoria's Secret, and I ended up, I wear a D cup now. So as many of my male clients request, that's why I called it Double D Dating Service in my book, Diary of the Beverly Hills Matchmaker, because they were all looking for busty gals. So I guess I exploded in midlife, and Adolfo said, well, thank you, Mirth.
Okay, so you're saying that when you got married, there was one thing going on, and now there's been an explosion. And
okay, listen.
now,
Okay, I'll just listen. I have nothing to hide. All right. So when Adolfo met me, I was very thin. I was like an A cup chest, basically flat, very thin. And he wasn't too thrilled with that, but he thought, you're so beautiful. I love your soul, your smile, everything else. Okay. Well, I didn't get a gal with chest. So, but then menopause. So guys, don't and ladies, don't go get breast implants, because then when menopause comes, you're going to see a big difference.
So there was no Beverly Hills surgeon involved?
No surgery. I'm completely natural, and it's really weird because people would say, oh, wow, yeah, I see you got implants. When did you get your implants? And I'm like, no implants. It's just exploded. So
really? So people have come up and said, nice work, right?
Yeah, some people who know me who hadn't seen me in a while, oh, when did you get your implants? And I'm like, nope. And, hey, maybe it's the Reiki, you guys.
That was my question. Were you being Reiki'd?
It's the Reiki coming through the energy. I'm like very more Marilyn Monroe now than Kate Moss.
Very interesting. Okay, okay. The next chapter. Well, actually, the next two chapters I want to discuss really quick before we go. And everybody, you can just go to marlamartenson.com and get the book there. But chapter 20 is Some Uninvited Guest. Tell me about that.
Okay, well, that's when I had some attachments. It was, we probably don't have time to go too much into it, but I started feeling a hardness at my solar plexus, and I was really worried. I'm like, something's wrong with me. It's so hard. And then I felt my arm was hurting. I felt something kind of at my rib. I had gone into my teacher, Goddess Tahita, for just clearing a session, because she had offered. I was on the healing team there, and just went in, and she says, oh, I told her about my stomach, and I thought maybe I had parasites. I'm a vegan. I eat a lot of vegetables.
Right. Was this on your right side or your left?
Well, right in the middle of my solar plexus, and then on the right side, my right arm, and kind of the right side of my ribs. And she says, well, you've got an infiltration. I said, oh, yeah, parasites, right? I figured, And she goes, no. You have an infiltration of low energy attachments, like low vibrational and entities. And as she was working on me, she's like, oh, you have 6 of them. Then she's like, oh, you have 8. And I had 10. And they had like energetic wire wrapping around my throat, my ears, my rib cage. And I probably picked it up. I was jumping on random boards. I was in a lot of classes and workshops with people there'll be a lot of spirits there around. Mm-hmm. And, but she says, you know what? It's a good thing it happened to you as a healer, because now you know what it feels like. So when someone comes to you and they say they've got an attachment, and I felt it come back in. It was unreal. I thought I was channeling. I was all excited because one night in bed, I feel this energy come through my crown chakra and paralyze me. Something slipped in. And I thought, oh, somebody wants to come in and channel. No, it wasn't. It was that main entity that was came in there. And it did come back, and then I got rid of it. But
how did you get rid of it? And that right now, there are hundreds of listeners going, this is happening to me, right?
Oh.
And I'm tripping right now because I've got a little, not with me. I have heard about this happening right now with somebody in my life. So how did you get rid of it?
Well, I went to my healer, and she got rid of it. She knew how to, Tahita at the Imagine Center. But she was able to remove them. She knew how. Now, I wasn't that advanced. If somebody came to me and said remove, some low vibrational entities, I wouldn't have known how to do that. And I'd be afraid to do it now. But I have worked on people who have some attachments, but I don't think I removed them. But yeah, you want to have somebody who knows what they're doing. And then it came back, and I was laying in bed alone watching TV. Adolfo was at work, and I feel something touching my legs. And I was like, gosh darn it, what is going on? And then I heard some garbling at my left ear, and I felt the energy trying to come in again. And I got up. I said, that is it. I said, get out. I went to my office. I grabbed my crucifix. I grabbed my sage. I saged the whole house. I grabbed my I called Archangel Michael. I called Jesus. I said, escort this guy out. I said, get out of here. And I prayed and prayed. And then they left. And then I went back to my healer, and I told her about it. And she says, well, there was still some fragments stationed in your bedroom, and they wanted to reattach. She says, but you acted powerfully, and you did the right thing by doing the cleansing, calling in Archangel Michael, calling in Jesus, and they left. So they weren't like demons or anything, but it was like low level, entities.
So sage, crucifix, and general pissed offness.
Yeah, that's what I did, because I was like, what can I do here?
Right.
And then it was gone, but they left. But I could feel them. I mean, I heard in my ear garbling. And then Adolfo comes home. So this is in the book too. And he's very sensitive as a singer and stuff. He's got allergies, and the house smelled. He goes, what's that smell? I said, oh God, honey, I'm sorry. I had to sage the whole house because the entities came back. And he's like, what? Okay, this is it. This is, you've gone too far. And he says, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, they were garbling in my ear. They were touching my legs. Touching your legs? Come on. Are you out of your mind? and I'm just like, honey, it's okay. I handled it. Never mind. Just go to bed. It's fine,
You should have given him a bag of salt and said, okay.
The poor guy. I mean, he really put up with a lot of stuff with me. He's everything's good now, but the poor guy kind of put him through a lot there, but...
Sage is a good thing. I like that. I like the smell of sage. I don't know why everybody trips on it.
I love it. I love the smell of sage. I sage it's good to sage your house, because if you have maybe you have arguments or whatever, it's good to sage and get the energy cleared in your home, in your office. It's just great to do it once every couple of weeks or whatever. Sage your house.
Absolutely. Okay. The battle of the psychics.
Yeah, that was interesting, because there's a friend of mine, and Karen's friend too. Her name's Linda Salvin, and we'd go on the board a lot together, and we have a lot of fun. She's a great psychic, and so she's kind of like, I can get advice from her whenever I need it. But I had this woman on my show, Cosmic Conversations, and I interviewed her, this psychic called Elizabeth, and we were talking about the board, and she was really adamant about, oh, that's, evil, and that's not, what you're doing is wrong. And she was totally like harsh with me. And I thought, oh no, I mean, what if she's right, and what am I doing, and should I do this anymore? And then I said, Linda, I've got to talk to you. I need to tell you what this other psychic said, and she says the complete opposite that you say. And so I rushed over to Linda's, and we talked about it, and so it was kind of like the battle of different opinions, and I had to decipher. So this is. The great point is, anybody on a spiritual path, if you want to delve into paranormal, occult, just spirituality, spiritual light, whatever you're doing, you have to discern for yourself, because there's going to be different opinions on everything, whether it's the board or crystals or pendulum or energy work or ghost hunting or whatever you're doing. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It can change your life. It can open you up. It makes life sparkle. It's magical. It's great. But like you said, some people think, the ghost people are crazy or the paranormal people are crazy. They all have. So you've got to discern for yourself. And that was interesting when I had two different perspectives. And then I had to decide ultimately what I want to do or what I want to check into.
Well, what does somebody do? I mean, what happens to a person that gets in an attachment, but they don't believe in what we believe in, right? I mean, what does that person do?
Well, I think there's a bunch of people with attachments. Look at the 405 freeway. I mean,
right.
You see people, there's a lot of that, negative attachments. And it's just part of life. It's all energy. It's nothing like, oh, you're evil or you did this or you've done something wrong. It's great to be cleared. That's why come in for a session, get your energy cleared, get a tune-up, that's important. So you got to do some research. You can go on the internet, you can get some books, you can contact a, respected healer, but I think, if you are feeling some negativity, some anxiety, some anger, bursts of anger, I mean, look into that because we pick up people's energy. We pick up that stuff.
When you were cleared, when you had the issues with the ribs and the solar plexus and you knew that something was going on and you were cleared, was it instantaneous? Like, did you drive home in the car knowing that things were going to be okay?
Yeah, because after it was like an hour session. No, it was a little more. She says, I need 15 more minutes after the hour. And I said, go ahead. I felt a menthol feeling at the top of my head. I felt my solar plexus was no longer hard. And that was hard for months. I thought, what's wrong? Do I have a tumor in there? What's going on? I was getting worried. And after she worked on me, my arm didn't hurt anymore. I mean, right after.
Wow.
And I went over to Whole Foods across the street and I got some nice, just a light, warm meal and some tea and went home and relaxed. And I felt it was lifted. It was gone.
I had a menthol feeling at the top of my head, but it was at a Van Halen concert in 1982. Now, I wanted to ask you really quick, and again, Marla, thank you. Fantastic conversation tonight. I've had such a great time.
Oh, it's so fun to talk to somebody who loves all this stuff and knows all this stuff.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. But I actually want to jump back to Hollywood back in the early 80s because you came out here to be an actress and get into the industry. And but wasn't Hollywood an amazing place in the early 80s? Was that like the most incredible experience ever in your life?
I loved it coming from a small town.
Right,
and the first apartment I had up here was on Sunset Boulevard, Sunset and La Cienega, that apartment building right there at the top of La Cienega. And I was like, oh my God, I'm on Sunset Strip. I was 20 years old.
Right.
And working in a restaurant and then going on auditions. I got that first year that I was here, I got a national Chevrolet commercial and a couple McDonald's commercials. And I had an agent and I was like, wow, this is so exciting. And it was. And then we had to have an answering machine. We had no cell phones back then or anything. So the agent would leave you a message on the answering machine, call back to confirm, and then you'd have to call back. And then we had no Siri. I'm bad with directions. You had that Thomas guide, that you'd open, try to figure out where I'm going. And it was so different. It was great, though. It was fun.
Well, right then, La Cienega and Sunset, which for everybody today, that's like House of Blues, right?
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
Yeah. But the strip from La Cienega all the way up to Doheny. Back then, you had Carlos and Charlie's. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a little way the other way, but yeah, Carlos and Charlie's was on Sunset. Yeah.
And of course, the Roxy and the Whiskey and Gazzari's, and the other way, the other direction at La Brea, which was Crescent Heights, was the Coconut Teaser, right?
Yeah.
And the
they still. Oh, you listen to this. Schwab's
Deli.
Where Lana Turner was supposedly
right.
Schwab, that was still there when I came.
Yeah.
There was still some old drive-ins. There was still some before they were torn down or whatever. There were still some of those places that those old-time movie stars hung out at.
Like Carlos and Charlie's, which is gone, right?
places. So
yeah. Oh, Dan Tana's is still there,
Dan
though.
Tana's still there. I used to eat there all the time. Yeah.
And
the Troubadour's there.
Yeah,
still.
the Troubadour's still there next door to Dan Tana's.
Yeah.
And this is what is really funny. And you're right, because back then, and we're heading towards the end of the show, but I love reminiscing about this. You remember the Marlboro Man?
Yeah.
Right at the turn right there,
Yes.
next to the Chateau Marmont.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and you would drive up Sunset Boulevard, which was packed full of just people and cars, but you would see all of those iconic things that you saw in the movies, like the Marlboro Man or the Chateau, or like I just brought up Carlos and Charlie. You would see all of these places going all up. Today, the Sunset Strip is not the same thing. It is an era that is gone, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Even Hollywood Boulevard, there's a lot of the old things are kind of gone. It's more like Times Square-ish or something. But
totally.
But at least Hollywood, the Grauman's Chinese Theater is still there, which is exciting.
Yeah, and which is back to my point. You and I, and a whole generation that grew up, dealing with the Strip and Hollywood Boulevard and what it was about. It's kind of funny to think about, but that was 35 years ago.
Oh, I was working in restaurants, so I saw Betty Davis and Frank Sinatra was singing to me, and I saw I got to meet and see a lot of these old time people. They were still alive, and Zsa Zsa Gabor and Merv Griffin, and I mean, I could go on and on. I got to meet and see a lot of these people that are gone now. They were still around. And
it's an era that is, but at least I cannot believe that we're sitting here in 2017, right?
I know it's crazy.
I'm not that old, folks, and neither are you, Marla. But that was 35 years ago now, and the world has changed.
We were real young then, so that's why.
That's the other part. Thank you so much, Marla. Great conversation tonight. I had so much fun, and everybody, it's just easy as this. MarlaMartenson.com. The links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go and click. The book is The Buddha Made Me Do It. It is sensational, and it's Rita approved. There you go. Thank you so much, Marla.
Thank you. Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Marla Martenson. Again, MarlaMartenson.com. Just go over to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Click right there, and it'll take you straight over. The book is, I'll hold it up for the video cameras. There you go. The Buddha Made Me Do It. That's Marla on the back. There you go. This one you can't have because it's autographed. Marla Martenson. Great conversation. And I had to go back, everybody, and just revisit a little bit about what the Sunset Strip was about. It was just so funny that she mentioned that's when she came out. That's when I came out. And it was a different era and a different time. Now, okay, really quick, I wanted to share this with you before we get out. A man, and Marla, you're still on hold. Listen to this. A man from the U.S. has taken out a giant ad in the Times of London claiming to be the rightful king of England. His name is Alan V. Evans. He's from Colorado, and he says he is a descendant of the royal Welsh line from the 3rd century. That's right. The ad says Evans is a direct descendant of an unbroken line legally documented since the 3rd century in Great Britain and registered in the Royal College of Arms. It goes on to describe generations of lineage, starting with the claim that Evans is the descendant of the Cyneda Wedig, the founder of the Kingdom of Wales. Evans is giving a legal notice to all of his relatives, according to the ad, and in 30 days plans to claim his royal historic estate, as well as land, assets, and titles. Now, there's a little twist to this. Evans will not claim his right to the throne until the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Also, a man called Alan V. Evans from Wheat Ridge, Colorado, attempted to claim 400 acres of land in Georgia's Twiggs County back in 2012, claiming that his ancestors had lived there. He said his evidence was destroyed in a fire at the county courthouse in 1901. Same guy? I don't know. Great story? Absolutely. But the ad in the London Times is real. Who knows? Who knows? Right? But he's got to wait till Queen Elizabeth II bites the big one. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Jonas, Dennis, thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, Mark D. Kovar, Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016-2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. Thank you, Marla Martenson. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Fader Night, 20th anniversary of the Phoenix Lights with Dr. Lynn Katai. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.